welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boy Mo and your girl Polly. And this is the Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. That's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all of that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast today, please get down there, hit like on this live stream, or if you're watching this, later on in the rebroadcast, hit like on the video. Helps more people to see this channel and, just to get into all this nerdy stuff with us when we go live. So, Polly, we're living in a Fantastic Four world. It's a post Fantastic Four world. You, as the resident, the local chapter president of the Reed Richards hate. Oh, was it? It's a hate organization. Reed Richards Truth.
It's hate club. How about anti-Reed club?
The Reed Richards Truthers, as you will, club. You got to see Fantastic Four. You got to see it like a day earlier than me, but you've watched it. I've watched it. The whole world has gotten a chance to watch it, so we got plenty to talk about when it comes to that. But how are you doing today?
Plenty of spoilers. I'm doing fantastic. I had to do it. Okay, but this was such a great week, and I watched the movie on Wednesday, and I've been excited ever since, and I think I'm gonna go watch it again tomorrow because, well, it was amazing.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And there were some other things that happened this week, but nothing came in close to that.
Right. Well, I think you're gonna have your work cut out for you, going out and exposing Reed Richards for who he really is, because I've started to see some of the apologist shit going on, and I'm like,
people seem to be liking them. I'm trying to not let them be fooled by.
I've noticed it, but it's a lot of very super casual. You don't know the comics people, which is fair. Look, if you just only know Fantastic Four because of the movies or the cartoon, you might be like, that Reed Richards is alright. I don't know why y'all are so down on him. And I'm like, oh, my sweet summer child. Just take 5. Look, read the first 10 issues of Fantastic Four, and you'll be like, oh, okay, this guy.
What the hell is this person? And the more you read, the more you hate him. That's the rule.
Yeah, you read about Reed, you're going to be anti-Reed.
And you become anti-Reed.
Well, thanks for again, everybody, for joining us, and shout out to Joe and Freddie who were in the live chat. Thank you for joining us. Let's see if more people come in and join us. But real quick, we're going to try to speed through. Like, I'm trying not to make the first bit to be like an hour long, but it's going to be hard. Kevin Feige, can someone tell Kevin Feige, like, just chill? Can you let anything breathe? Did y'all look? We're gonna talk about this. There's gonna be a lot going on in the news section before we actually review Fantastic Four. But he dropped like a ton of stuff this week, like leading up to San Diego Comic-Con. And then look, we still are gonna talk about, we still gotta talk about Superman and stuff. So I mean, we do have some stuff. But before we do that, we got our little pre-news part. We gotta talk about what we've been up to. That's nerdy. And so what you been up to, nerdy, Polly?
Not much. I've been still reading Moon Knight. Still enjoying the run, the second run, and pretty much that's it. Like, aside from the Fantastic Four, of course.
Nice.
No, nothing on the budget. No, nothing.
I did see you. I see you got Doom, and I actually saw you posted about Doom, and you had like a little backdrop.
Really cool. Yeah. I've had this statue for a while, and he's right here with me. I don't know if you can see him. But I've had the statue for a while, but yeah, every once in a while I take like really cool photos.
Spoiler alert.
I was
gonna say spoiler alert, that's actually a mini Doom bot. Y'all didn't know.
That's actually real Doom.
Also, you have the Fantastic Four poster back there. Dope.
Oh, yes. That's of course from the premiere.
Show and love. I love that. I want to say I was doing more, like, my nerdy stuff this week was kind of limited. I mean, I'm still watching Excel World, which is really, I'm watching one episode a day, so eventually I'm going to get to the end of that series. It's quite good. but for an anime that's almost 15 years old, enjoying that. I've been reading some comics, still trying to catch up on the Dawn of X, very slowly but surely, the Krakoan era, which is topical because Jonathan Hickman is very clearly the DNA of Jonathan Hickman is all over the current phases of the MCU. So I think it's instructive to go back and read his stuff and see where his mind is at, and so we can kind of get a clue as to where the MCU is going. So that's been fun. Also, I finished reading what the heck was it? The one about Psylocke and like her cyber baby or whatever.
Fallen Angels.
Fallen Angels. That was not.
I'm pretty sure that's considered to be one of the worst
It's not good.
of the era.
It's
Nobody liked it.
It's not good.
I have never met a person who liked it. I did not like it myself. It's a waste of time.
It was a waste of Laura. It was just a waste of and I'm like, okay, well, y'all are just doing whatever.
And there is such a good run right now. The Psylocke solo run right now is so good. So when you go back to read that one,
I will say that the little backstory about her being trained by the hand or whatever, that was kind of interesting, but doesn't really go anywhere. And Apocalypse was waste. There's just so much, or is it Sinister? Sinister's wasted in it. I didn't like it. So that's comics. So of course we got to talk about nerding on a budget. Hey, Joe says that your posters conveniently cut off Reed's head in the video.
That is absolutely an accident. It is not intentional. No. Well, yes, it is absolutely intentional.
Unintentional on purpose. So as usual, I do my nerding on a budget. So I'm gonna do this real quick so we can get to the meat of the show. I'm still picking up my local thrift shop. It's really good. By the way, the thrift shop, it is for spay and neuter and stuff for dogs and cats and whatever. So it's actually really good charity. Anyway, I got X-Men Gold Volume 5 and X-Men Gold Volume 6. Mark Guggenheim was writing this. But this was $5 and
pretty sure I remember this 50. Run. I read it. It's
got magic on the cover.
It was pretty good.
Magic's on the cover.
Yeah.
I like Mark Guggenheim's. I like Mark Guggenheim's comic work. So I'm looking forward to that. Also bought some more physical media. Hell on Wheels Season 1. I mean, if you like the AMC series from about 15 years ago, this was running when Walking Dead was really had some steam under it. But it was a nice little period piece from that time. So and also, incidentally, I didn't point out that if you don't see, that's Anson Mount, who is currently playing Captain Pike on Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. That's the first time I ever saw him in anything. The first episode of that is really good, and that was I want to say that was $1 or $2. So it's a good and it's sealed too. So really good. Also got the new version of V, the first season. That's the one with Morena Baccarin, who plays the leader of the aliens that come to Earth. I like the V series from the 80s, and I never did catch this version, so I do want to go give that a look. Again, $2, something to have on the shelf whenever I'm just let me watch something new. When people when
the internet is down.
Yeah, the internet is down. Whenever when inevitably America crumbles in, and we're all stuck. We're all
so
stuck.
Soon.
Yeah, we're all stuck without the internet. I'll at least have that from my DVD shelf. So, Joe said about the poster. He said, "Don't lie about intentionally cutting off Reed's head."
Well, if Reed can lie, I sure as hell can.
My last little bit of nerding on a budget. I got this guy in the mail. This was $10 from Amazon.
Ooh.
I want to also note that getting cheap Marvel Legends from Amazon is starting to go out the window. I was getting them for $9 or less. Is I had to settle for $10 for this. Those Trump terrorists are kicking my ass when it comes to collecting. But He Who Remains. I'm gonna take him out the box. I usually don't like to take him out, but since this is not plastic, I actually am gonna take him out. And this is a part of a build a what they call a build a figure. So I have
So it
three.
has body parts inside.
I already have three of these. I've got Jimmy Woo, classic Loki. So I need to get Scarlet Witch, Howard the Duck, and Red Skull, and then I can have Khonshu. So we'll see.
Oh, the
Uh,
moon will haunt you. I actually
yeah.
have like a very, very Frankenstein looking Thanos made of this, and he doesn't have a head. And I think he has like an arm of a Wendigo and a leg of something else.
How did that happen?
Well, you know.
Those are that was my good find. Now it's just nerding because sometimes you just got to pay full price for things. Y'all, I went to the theater to see Fantastic Four yesterday. They had the nerve to only send 6 Galactus popcorn buckets, and I was ready to spend real money. I was going to give them cash money for it. They didn't have it, so I had to settle for the superior, in my opinion, the superior thing, which is this. It's also $80. Look at this, but look at my little baby Herbie. If you watch the movie, you know Herbie is like the unsung hero of the whole movie. And in fact, I will say he's explicitly R2D2. Like, can we admit that?
Yeah,
he's basically R2D2. This thing is huge, by the way. This is a popcorn bucket. This is a all things. The head, it carries drink.
There's a whole fridge.
Yeah, I wish it was refrigerated. That'd be cool. The front for the candy, the back for the popcorn. It ran $80, but you know what?
I wonder if did you see anyone in the theater who actually used it to like pour drinks and popcorn?
I didn't. But I wasn't like trying to pay attention to everybody like that. I did see several people.
I want to see those people. people.
I think somebody replied to me on Threads, and they said that they bought it because the kids really wanted it. But I think they actually used it for the way it was intended. And I was just like, well, I mean, I get it when you have
the kids really wanted it.
Your kids are not. They're looking at this as like this is a cool thing. They are not thinking about it as a collectible. I'm collecting. He's gonna go back here somewhere.
Yeah.
As you can see, like I said, huge. You see how tall relative to me, this is the baby size. This is the toddler basically. So they probably still have them.
It's almost Franklin.
Yeah. All right. If you have an AMC nearby, you can probably go snag one of these. Also, I think they're going to be on the website. So if you want to get a cool thing. Also, it makes noise. Let me see if I'm not going to hear it. It makes noise. So that's actually pretty cool. And it has a projector too, so that projects the little Fantastic Four logo. So that's there. Look, that's all of our nerding for the week. I'm not gonna be nerding on a budget for like at least 6 weeks because of that purchase right there. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. Even though I made myself go ahead and buy it. So, yeah, we're gonna
worth it.
Yeah, we're gonna.
This is something you're gonna look at in 10 years and be like, I'm so glad I got it.
I'm gonna put it somewhere prominent, and when people walk in the house, they'll be like, "What's up with this?" And I'm like, "Let me tell you a story, y'all." Do you know who Herbie? Let me tell you the history of Herbie. I'm sure they'll love that. Anyway, that's all of our nerding for the week. So the Supercast is about talking about superhero media and all the news and everything. So we're going to cover some news today. Yes, I know y'all want to talk about. You definitely want to talk about Fantastic Four First Steps. We're gonna get to that. We are, but again, blame Feige. He decided he wanted to drop a ton of stuff to talk about, so we just gonna have to do it. Pre San Diego Comic-Con news. But also,
could it just go to Comic-Con?
Yeah, I mean, we could have waited till next week, but whatever. It's Feige does what he wants. But we also going to talk about Eyes of Wakanda getting a new release date. Booster Gold gets an update also. James Gunn talks about the Black Adam and Shazam 2 cameos, and he announces and releases the first episode of the official Peacemaker companion podcast. We're going to briefly talk about Superman box office, and we'll predict where is this going to end up. Then finally, just a ton of info from Feige. About Marvel's 7-year, he says there's a 7-year plan. There's the possibility of rebooting and recasting the next major villain, the X-Men director, what's going on in the Spider-Verse, what's going on with Blade, what's
what's up with that?
He talks about filming with unfinished scripts. Look, there's a lot. It's hard to run through all of these things. Then, of course, we're going to talk about Fantastic Four First Steps. So, and yeah, we are going to talk spoilers, but we will do a non-spoiler review in the first part. So, guys, is it a lot? Are y'all strapped in? You got a drink, you got a snack, you're ready to go. All right. So let's get it. Y'all, Eyes of Wakanda just got a new release date. And I'm happy, but also like, dang, it's sneaking up on us. Eyes of Wakanda is going to premiere on August 1st. It's going to be August 27th. Now it's August 1st. They moved it all up, and it's going to drop all 4 of its half-hour long episodes in one shot. Yay! Because we've been looking forward to Eyes of Wakanda for a while. But also,
why?
Well, why? But also, like, this is like real soon. I remember Joe was saying like it's gonna throw off his content creation schedule, and it's true because it's crowding. This is crowding. Like, but on the other hand, I'm fucking excited. So, like, I don't know. I'm of two minds, but most sound like yay. How about you?
Mostly again, I'm excited that it's going to be sooner than I expected, and I wouldn't have the time to forget about it and cool down. And also, like, in general, I like when it's just keep popping up, and you have something to watch, and there's always something fun on the horizons. And it's nice.
Yeah, and also in the little article, they also kind of gave I guess I don't want to say synopsis, but like a little bit of background on the first episode, and they've sort of dropped this too about a Dora who has to go out and get one of the war dogs who's kind of used Wakandan technology to kind of become a warlord. It sounds really interesting. Takes place in 1260 BC, and they confirmed that the other episodes, they aren't taking place in the same time period, but they have an ongoing thread. I'm really interested in this. I like the little picture that they showed. And I think they also said she not just a Dora, she wants to be one of the Hatu Sarate, which is, of course, the secret police of Wakanda. It sounds cool, and I'm looking forward to it. I will also say that I wish they would do week to week drops. Just like let us talk about
for 30 minutes though.
Yeah, well, even still, like they did that for Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. They did that for, and maybe
they did that for X-Men too, but like for the Spider-Man, they dropped I think like 2 episodes a week.
Yeah, 2 or 3. Like
and for X-Men, well, it's a little bit different because it's X-Men.
I wonder if it's just because this wasn't this wasn't intended to be a week to week thing. But
probably.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be like Predator, Killer of Killers. But in that case, why just make it a movie? But we'll see. I'm excited. I want to see what's going on with that. Let me see. Before we move on. What Joe says. It's interesting that they were like, let's just premiere this a month early, and he wasn't planning for it for another month. They're like, we do what we want. Excuse me. And Freddie says he's excited for Eyes of Wakanda. Same. looks like it's going to be cool. I like this idea that this is the animation can just be one of those, places where they can be a lot more free to do stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Is
and
it?
expand the universe.
Yeah, exactly. So that's next week. We're going to check it out. We may end up having to talk about the week after because I don't think it's going to premiere before we record. So we'll see. So moving on to talking about Booster Gold. They finally kind of confirmed what we've been suspecting about Booster Gold is that they were developing it. I think people want Kamal Nanjiani to be Booster Gold, which I'm not opposed to, but I think it's sort of confirmed he's not attached to it and he's not going to be it. But we can hope. But they have attached David Jenkins to write the pilot for Booster Gold. Now, who the hell is David Jenkins? That's fair. Nobody knows writers in Hollywood because there's so many of them. But apparently he was the writer, maybe head writer or showrunner, creator or whatever. Our flag means death, which Taika Waititi, he was it Reese Darby as the main character in there. I've seen like one episode. I've heard great things about it. I just haven't watched it, but I quite liked the first episode. So that's the sort of sensibility maybe there. Like if you want an understanding of where they're going with the sensibilities, maybe that's a place to look to. If that's he's writer and creator on that, and that show's quite funny. And I think Booster Gold as a character needs that kind of comic sensibility. So I could see this. And how have you watched the show? Have you watched Our Flag Means That? Like I said, I only watched a bit of it.
I have not. I have not. I've heard a lot of good things about this show, but I never actually got around to watching it. And then I think it got canceled, like a lot of things.
Did it get canceled?
At that
That's a
particular
good
time?
question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it got canceled after one season or something like that.
I know it has to. Let's see. Our Flag Means Death. It's definitely still. I think it's still running actually, or maybe it canceled after two. I said, why was it canceled? Okay, it got 2 seasons. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that, and but well, like I said, I heard good things about it. So maybe and it's I'm not sure, but I assume that it's comedy of sorts. So
yeah, it is. It is a comedy.
Mm-hmm. So that's interesting because I'm not very familiar with Booster Gold from the comics, but everything I know about the character kind of seems fitting so far. I don't know. I'm just excited to like see what happens, and since we already have enough from the new DC DCU DCEU. We already have enough to like have faith in their project. So
well,
it's gonna be exciting.
I think he teams up with Guy Gardner in the comics, like they're friends. So I think that's a good not Guy Gardner. I'm wrong. Ted Cord. I don't know why I say Guy Gardner. He teams up with Ted Cord, Blue Beetle. So they are good friends, and like it's a kind of an interesting dynamic between them. And so if we can get him, then maybe we can get Ted Cord, Blue Beetle in there. I'm excited. I'm interested. I'm just glad that they're moving forward with some of these smaller characters that us comic fans know. That gives me a good understanding of where their head is at over at DC Studio. So we'll check it out. Hopefully that they're also doing this like real TV, so they're doing a pilot to see if they actually want to move forward with the show. I'm hoping.
Well, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this actually goes somewhere. We'll see. We'll check it out. Let you guys know then. Speaking of DC, James Gunn had some things to say and some clarification to say about Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Black Adam. Particularly, if y'all recall, 2 characters that he had a lot to do with bringing to the DC universe. In the Suicide Squad and also Peacemaker season 1, they show up in the post credits of Black Adam, or in the case of what was it? Not Shazam, Black Adam. Actually shows up in the movie, and so Jennifer Holland's Harcourt shows up, and also her and John Economos show up at the end of Shazam. Now, he's like, basically he's saying, I didn't like those cameos. I didn't really have anything to do with them. And they're not canon to the DCU. And I get it. Like, because I remember watching Black Adam, I was like, oh shit, Harcourt's in this thing. Like, all right, so Peacemaker has something to do with something here. And then at the end of Shazam, Fury of the Gods, it was a silly little cameo, but I was like, okay, maybe they're doing Justice Society. Because they brought, they were basically recruiting Shazam. I was like, cool. And then, of course, the DCU died, it an incursion occurred and it destroyed that whole, what I'm saying? Destroyed the whole thing.
It had something to do with it.
I was like, you guys are doing the Marvel thing where you do a cameo that doesn't go anywhere. All right, cool. But he's like, yeah, they're not canon. But people were like, and they quoted like, he's like, I hate it. And people were like, oh shit, he hates Black Adam and Shazam Fury of the God.
Of course,
and if he did, valid. Like, I like those movies, but they're not amazing. they're not great.
I honestly like Black Adam was okay, I think, but like Shazam was not.
Shazam 2 was a disappointment, but like if he was just like, but also you got to remember, James Gunn wouldn't say some shit like that. Like, y'all be for real. He's a studio head. Studio heads don't last long shitting on other people's work. Like they just don't. He was really more talking about the kind of difficulty it adds to his job, because now he's got to fucking explain to everybody about what's going on here with something he had nothing to do with. He didn't put those cameos in. He didn't tell them, oh, yo, do this. You could tell that the writers or the directors of those movies, or even probably the executive producers, were like, let's tie it to something that's popular in the DC universe, and that's Peacemaker, right? Peacemaker was really popular, so they're like, let's tie this together. But the shit don't mean anything, and he's just like, it don't mean anything. We're not even. None of that happened. All right, let's cool. Shazam didn't happen. Black Adam didn't happen. None of that happened in the DCU.
Well, the fun part is that we really don't. Everything doesn't have to have a payoff.
Except in comic books, they do. Because some nerd is gonna be like, "Hey, you remember that time on that one panel and that one issue 15 years ago? Why aren't y'all talking about that? I've been that guy. Y'all have seen me be like, why aren't y'all talking about the blip anymore? I'm that dude. I get it. Okay, I'll be that guy." But he's just like, nah, none of this shit means anything. Freddie says, I'm not okay with seeing Zachary Levi in the DCU. Oh, don't worry about it.
No, yeah.
Don't worry about
He's
that.
not
that
coming
shit,
back.
That shit ain't happening. They gonna recast him immediately. Zachary Levi, he's stuck in the faith base.
I think he's over. Like, yeah, he's unhireable.
He's stuck in. He's gonna be doing Daily Wire shit before long. That's his trajectory.
How's that going?
He and Gina Carano are going to co-star.
Superstars, the new faces of Daily Wire.
Yeah, they're gonna
awesome.
They're gonna co-star in something that 25 people will see in theaters. So anyway,
in one theater,
in one single theater, and it's gonna be a church that buys the tickets. So anyway. That's yeah, James Gunn, you're right for that. Also, since we're talking about James Gunn, the official Peacemaker podcast launched today, actually. It's a companion podcast, and right now they are in a rewatch of season 1 because it has been a few years. It's amazing to believe that it's been a few years since this show came out. And I'm gonna do some nerd shaming right now. Shame. I wish I had the gift. Shame, Polly. And I think Joe too. I want to say Joe said he didn't watch Peacemaker either. You know what? Y'all got 3 weeks to watch this.
Thank you, Joe.
Y'all got 3 weeks to watch this. Get on it. The Peacemaker is amazing, and I would even say watch the Suicide Squad first and then watch Peacemaker. It's very satisfying. But the podcast launched. The first episode had Jennifer Holland and why why can't I say his name? Steve Agee. Uh, and of course James Gunn was on there. They recapped the episode and talked about various aspects of it. I really liked it. First of all, I really liked this first episode. I as a person that listens to a ton of podcasts, they do a pretty good job because a lot of it is rapport. The three of them they've been friends a while. You can tell. They talk like people. They've worked together, but they've been friends, and it's really nice to hear them talk about the show and the making of it, and also just kind of talking about the story itself and how they're thinking about it. And this is also, I think this is a showing to me that DC and Warner Brothers Discovery and DC Studios in particular, they understand how to make a podcast properly, how to make one that's interesting that you actually want to pay attention to, that's not just an ad. Clearly, this is an ad, right? Peacemaker podcast is an ad. They want you to watch the show, but it's also it's what they call it in marketing speak. It's a value add. You know, it's something that you add on top of something that's already good that just makes the product better all around. It makes people want to go pay attention.
But then again, do they only do recap or do they like analyze the episode? Or
they're doing both. They're talking about because Gunn is talking.
See, there is the problem. There is the problem I have with that. On one hand, yeah, it's a very cool thing to do. It's interesting. It builds up interest for the show. On the other hand, though, do we really need everything explained? Like how what's happening? What's going on here? Because you need now the producer, the studio head to sit down and explain to you that this is not a hero, this is not good, this is not like an example you should follow. Are we at that point now?
Well, it's less that, it's more because like the reason why I like it is I like to hear about creative choices because he wrote it. Where did this come from? He explains where this came from, what the time of, like, because he wrote this basically during lockdown.
So kind of like the commentary, like director's commentary.
Yeah, like where did this come from? Why this character? Why did you populate it with these people? What was your he sort of gets into that, and they Jennifer Holland and Steve Agee, they ask the questions that are sort of we would sort of ask too, but also as people who help create this thing, they have a little bit of insider insight too. Like I said, I'm just saying y'all should watch it. I think DC Studios, they really understand how to do these podcasts because Showcase and this one are good. And if you like podcasts and you like the product that they're putting out, you should check it out. These are coming out at least until the first till season 2 premieres are coming out every Friday and every Monday. So next episode will be on Monday. I'll be checking that out. I encourage you all to check it out too. And just like, go watch the show. Polly, I need you to watch the show so I can so we can talk about it when season 2 comes out. Like, anyway, I'm gonna peer pressure all of y'all. So continuing with DC, let's talk about the Superman box office. So currently, last I checked, it was at $430 million. This is not counting, obviously, Friday through Sunday box office. Usually they do like to sort of do projections for it. But so we're basically talking about in the first couple weeks, it's made $430 million worldwide. And I saw somewhere that they're projecting a 30 something million, maybe 31, 32, something like that, maybe 35 at the top second week. So this is all domestic, United States and Canada. That's what they're projecting for the third weekend, which is something because it is going up against a Marvel movie. We haven't seen this in a while. When's the last time we saw it where a Marvel and DC movie were in the theater at the same time?
God, I think it was like
I don't even remember.
Definitely over 5 years ago. Definitely before the pandemic. Definitely like another place, another time.
Yeah, this is it was a different landscape, but so Fantastic Four obviously it's gonna win the box office for the week, for the weekends. But Superman now, is it gonna how's it gonna make its money? And where do we think it's gonna end up? I'm still I'm still gonna stay with the 550 million figure, but
you added the 50, I think.
I said
from the last time.
Well, I think 550 was the most reasonable, just because think they're gonna slow down, and Fantastic Four is gonna take a big chunk out of their potential earnings. But a $30 million hold for a 30, 31, $32 million hold for a third weekend is actually quite good. You're essentially, it's basically another 50% drop, 50, 52, 53% drop. A 50% drop week to week is not bad. Not for a tent pole. Now, obviously, we would have liked to have seen this make $1 billion. I don't think this was ever gonna make $1 billion. I mean, it really would have had to have been in game level, like satisfying to be like that.
Well, Avatar made $1 million.
You said Avatar
$1 billion.
$1 billion. Well, that's a Avatar is its own animal. I think it's hard to compare things to Avatar because it has legs it has more legs than a fucking millipede. Like that's how strong the box office is for James Cameron. I don't know how the fuck he does it. He has figured out a way to make movies where people tell everyone come see this movie, right? Like because both avatars are 2 billion
and
plus.
then you go watch the second one and they like don't go see this movie.
Which is weird because it's in the $2 billion. The funny thing is Avatar 2 is in the $2 billion club.
Yeah, it's because it's beautiful and it's shot for IMAX. So you go to watch it the first time, and then like for me, it was like the first time I went to watch it just in, I think it was in 2D even, and then we were like, we need to see this in IMAX because this is shot for IMAX. This is, and to this day, I think that's the only movie that actually benefits a lot from being viewed in IMAX. Every other movie, I can have just as much fun watching it in just regular 3D, but this is the one that actually benefits from it, and I think that is the whole point. That is how they did it. Like, watch it. It's a technological achievement. It's something that you will just enjoy looking at, and it's a simple story that pretty much.
I mean, it really is Dances with Wolves. With aliens, which Dances with Wolves is a good look. Dances with Wolves is a good story. It's Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I just heard a lot about it.
But the and the thing is, before Fantastic Four, they had the Avatar Fire and what was it Fire and Ash or something like that trailer.
Yes. The trailer. Yeah, it looks like like the second movie.
Yeah,
it looks like it doesn't have a story. It doesn't have a plot, and it doesn't need to exist.
Well,
but it exists anyway.
We're getting a bit far afield here. Superman, where's it gonna end up? I'm sticking with 550. I will be happy if I'm wrong. If it really has legs and goes 600 plus, cool. Like I think its break even is like 625. If it doesn't get that, I think it'll be all right because they're making money in other places too. But I would like to be wrong. The international box office has gotten better, and so I'm trying to see if the international box office, if it gets better, might be where it kind of makes up ground. So right now, 430, 550, another 110, $15 million is entirely possible over the next few weeks. The question is WD Discovery, when are they going to take it out of the theater? And will the competition with Fantastic Four actually kind of like cut into where it could have been? I think Marvel and DC, they need to be a little better coordinated than this because this is not a Barbenheimer situation. Like, not at all. They need to actually stay far away from each other's release dates, in my opinion.
I don't know. I don't think that it's true because if you want to see both, you will go see both. There are some people who try to compare these movies, and that's just ridiculous. Those are different things entirely. But I think that there is room for both, and the only competition they really are in is for the attention of casual movie viewers. And I mean, that's a competition not just between Marvel and DC. There's competition between like Trolls or something else or whatever else is released this week.
Yeah.
So
do we know who they're really competing for? Like, I really feel this is true for the kids. These are competing for kid. Like both Fantastic Four and Superman are entirely kid friendly. They definitely.
relatively,
Well, I
I
mean,
would say that
as far as
Fantastic Four is less so.
as far as superhero films go, they are some of the most kid friendly superhero films we've had in a while. Especially from
they're also newbie friendly.
Yes, exactly.
Like a casual, and I think that they could have made it more obvious, probably, like with the Fantastic Four, especially with Superman. There is no such problem, but I have seen like them mentioning in the interviews that this is a movie that you can just go and watch. You don't need any previous knowledge. You don't need to have seen everything before that. But the information is not quite out there.
Right.
Those casual moviegoers, they would not read your interview. They just don't care. But they will see, and this is where Fantastic Four did things better. They will see this huge tons of promotion on social media, on like everywhere. The things they did, they're really, really impressive, and they went all out with the style and
right. Well, it helps. It helps that both
and
of
they
them.
campaign.
And Superman is big, colorful, flashy. It's a recognizable character. It's a character that kids attach to easily. So, just making it easy and accessible and friendly to younger fans will get their parents to take them. And it's in the middle of the summer. They will just take them. I think that's important. That both of these movies actually are quite good. I think Fantastic Four is another one of those where it is explicitly pretty well marketed to kids. So if they can capture that audience and get the summer movie going audience into theaters, they'll both do quite well. So, Freddie says that they have already announced that Superman is coming to digital in September. All right, so there you go. They got a month.
But I think that there is some room between, like some time has to pass between it leaves the theaters, leaving the theaters, and actually becoming available on digital.
Yeah, I mean,
right? It's like 2 weeks or something, or even a
there's
month.
something like it's usually like 45 days. I think was the new, but it's dependent on the movie because like they'll Sinners took a while to come to digital because they were trying to get as much money as they could out of it. So they're going to do the same thing here. It's all it's it depends on the movie. Some movies are going to go there after 2 weeks. Some are going to take 2 months or 3 months. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on this. Like I said, I anticipate it should cross 500 million this coming week. So then it's just how high can you run it up? So now it's time to look. We're at 48 minutes and we haven't even talked about Feige and his huge info dump.
Drop. Yeah.
He was just like, hey, you guys got about an hour to talk about all this because he literally like brought a bunch of people. He brought a bunch of press in and was like, hey, I got to get some stuff off my chest. And then he proceeds to like do like when Feige's doing an info dump, when all of the usual suspects on social media, the ones that we follow to keep up with our news, are just like, Feige said this, then Feige said that. They got like 10 posts out of one interview, so he was going in. And shout out to like Black Girl Nerds, obviously. Another one, I Don't Beat Games. I'm so glad I followed him because he'd be on it. Like, they're definitely making me see like.
Yeah, that's where I get all my information pretty much. Like, and
less Screen Rant because Screen Rant, but they're or Cosmic Book News or whatever. Less them, but they do sometimes.
No, those are just they post strange things. So
yeah. So let's run through this, and some of the I'm just gonna run through them real fast and just mention them because I mean we could be here a while. Um, as I said in the intro before we got into the news, he said, "Oh, this is an unrelated one. I just saw he mentioned this in this. He said he said his son is interested in Marvel now, and do you know why? This is this is why it's so important
I
that
don't want to like. I hope it's not because of Reed Richards
no,
in any way.
he's interested in because of Marvel Rivals. This is how important.
Oh yeah.
Like people
Hmm.
don't like. I don't think people really quite grasp. I'm not a gamer. But I'm aware of it. I know you play a lot. I know there are a lot of people that play a lot. Marvel Rivals is doing a ton to push people back into the Marvel, sphere. People are really interested because Marvel Rivals looks really cool. Like
Not only looks cool, but you are very much inclined to invite your friends to play,
mm-hmm,
and then they pull all these different characters from different timelines, and they post references
mm-hmm,
like to where they come from, and there is a lot to explore, and they
right?
don't shy away from it. They pull
Yeah.
things like Krakoa, Clintar, stuff like that that reference comics constantly, so people probably would be interested in like checking out what this whole thing is
And I
about.
believe don't they make it free at least to read the Marvel Rivals
Yes, it's
comic, like the little Infinite
uh
they have a comic
yes,
based
they
in
have an Infinity comic, yeah. And the game is free to play,
yeah.
which is also awesome.
So
It has like cross promotion with comics less, but like with movies stuff like that.
mhm,
Today they like I think it was today they dropped the suits for Fantastic Four
yep.
from the movie, which I bought instantly.
See they
For
they're getting
suits.
your
I
money.
don't buy costumes for it. Yeah, they're getting a lot of my money. So they have like this whole Phoenix theme right now. This is awesome. Like if you don't play, you definitely should go play and like kill as many reads as you can.
It's interest I like it's a smart bit of cross promotion. It's a good way to get people
Hmm.
into the game. It's working. I even saw they did a bit where they were showing the
The
Fantastic
actors,
Four
yeah, how to
actors,
play.
yeah, playing
Hmm.
and Vanessa Kirby was like,
Hmm.
oh, she saw what was the
They
malice
they
thing?
definitely like the Malice cost skin. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have that one too, by the way.
that's it's so like I'm just pointing out this is like so
Oh,
smart.
and they also like released yesterday. I think they released the team up where Johnny carries Ben
Hmm.
and drops him like
Which
that is awesome.
if
So
you see the movie, it makes sense. Like you understand it now.
yeah, but
It's
if you play in the game, you hate it because somebody just drops a huge tank on your on top of your head, and usually you're a heel, and that's
yeah.
awful. It's just
It's like I said, Marvel Rivals it may be one of the in fact, yeah, I'll go on a limb. It's the best marketing for Marvel right now that isn't just a movie.
mm.
Like it's the best. Like it is getting some people who could care. They don't even like the MCU. They're not watching the MCU faithfully.
They're pretty much Overwatch players.
Yeah, but they're not. But they see just enough to be like, this is cool because they have enough of an imagination to be like, what's up with this? So that I thought that was really cool. But relate to what he actually was talking about. He says Marvel's currently they're on a 7-year plan, which the mutants, of course, he already said was the next big thing. And he said that he explicitly said they're going to be looking to recast uh, characters, specifically, obviously, the X-Men. I mean, of
Of
course,
course.
but also other characters. So he didn't say so much, but like Iron Man, Cat, Steve Rogers, whatever, are probably on the board. Any of the people who are aging out of their, I think Thor is not just likely is necessary because Hemsworth is not going to be at it for too much longer. We know because of his health situation. Um, he also said that Secret War after Secret Wars there's a plan to not reboot but to reset singular timelines. So basically, it's going to be like the comic books. Now, a lot of y'all casuals are going to learn. Y'all about to learn something today. which is when the shit gets too complicated, it's time for an event to just like smooth things out. Y'all been watching. Y'all got used to watching Spider-Man in his own universe and Fantastic Four, and like these, the MCU. No, y'all about to learn that when it gets too much, we just gonna just throw it together. Thus, we gonna throw it together, stir it up, and you just gonna have
Nothing
to.
is set in stone.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything can be reset, rebooted, and retconned.
Exactly. I am not.
I mean, what are the chances that Wanda and Pietro are gonna like be alive and kicking and become Magneto's children again?
You know what's gonna be? What's gonna annoy me about it is it's gonna be the same situation.
Like biological.
Same situation I have when people be like, I thought Toby Maguire was Spider-Man when I'm like,
who isn't Spider-Man? Everyone is Spider-Man.
Y'all don't ask these stupid ass questions about James Bond. Stop asking dumb questions about Spider-Man, damn it. Anyway. He also confirmed Jake Schreier, who was the Thunderbolts director, as the X-Men director. We kind of knew this, right? We kind of knew this. He said also that Miles Morales will not be in live action. He is off limits to live action, at least until the Spider-Verse movies are done with.
Concludes. Yeah. And that explains why they keep moving and postponing. Someone is just holding on to him for dear life.
I mean, it would be funny if they decide to make a Miles Morales live action universe at Sony, just so they can fuck that one up too. Oh. We'll see.
Oh, they might. Bring Madam Web back. It's everybody's favorite character.
Oh, they follow up on that ending scene. Also, he said that they are still working on Blade, but there's no timeline for it. But they've finally come to an actual idea or whatever that they're working on. The fourth iteration of this, and that Mahershala Ali is still attached. Sure, I believe you for real.
But then recasts and stuff, and I remember that he like a week or two ago he said that he wasn't attached. Like then Feige
comes out and says
he's still attached. I don't know what's going on with that movie, but I hope it's still like set in what were they planning, 20s or 30s. I hope it's still like period piece. Oh damn it! That was the funnest part because those suits already got
they
ruined.
No, yeah,
Sinners.
Because Sinners unless Sinners is
they stole their wardrobe.
Unless Sinners is like a prequel.
That's it.
That unless Sinners is a prequel, we're pretty much done. No, it's.
That would have been cool. I would really watch Blade like hunting down Michael B. Jordan. trying to. Of course I wouldn't want him like
Blade versus Stack and Mary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Maybe bring on Buffy. Just to make it fun. Disney owns her too now.
I mean Blade. At some point we're gonna get it. I don't think it's Mahershala Ali, but we'll see. There, he also acknowledged what everyone already knows, and what also, they were talking about. What's the name? Iger was saying that they made too much Marvel stuff after Endgame. Yeah, no kidding. Everyone knows and understands that y'all stretched yourselves too far. But it's nice. It's nice to hear him actually say he's free to say.
What a nice Reed Richards reference.
They were stretched too thin, definitely. Yeah, but I guess he's free to say it because Iger said it. But he actually acknowledged that they kind of dropped off quality because of quantity. He attributed underperformance of the Marvels, Captain America 4, and Thunderbolts to the characters being introduced or developed in the TV shows. This goes back to the whole homework aspect of it.
I mean, he's kind of true in a way, but then again, Sam Wilson was not introduced on TV, and don't ignore review bombing and like a whole hate groups walking around and attacking everything that is not up to their standards.
Right.
So
I mean,
are we gonna pretend that didn't happen?
all of that is true. I will say that there's a lot of truth about a lot of that. Like, yeah, toxic fans and it's not cat necessarily casual friendly. Um, the characters, like, and I'll even say like the original Captain Marvel, it benefited a lot from being between Infinity War and Endgame. So people really wanted to like, but this one didn't benefit from that. Yes, it had two characters that no one knew unless you watched the TV shows. It kind of is Marvel, making a decision about how to push their characters that was wrong. This idea that you can use TV to promote movies clearly doesn't work, and I'm not sure why they thought it would work. It sounded cool to us because we were going to watch all this stuff, but other than that, essentially what I think this boils down to is known quantities versus unknown quantities. You can have unknown quantities, but if you do, you need to actually, you can't just like make an okay movie. You can't make a good movie. You can't make a fine movie. You have to make a great movie because otherwise you're not going to put them over. I think Guardians of the Galaxy is a good example of making a great movie to put over characters that people don't know, right? Versus the Marvels, which is a good movie. In fact, I quite liked it, but it's not good. It's not a great movie that puts over characters that people don't know. Uh, Captain America 4 is a good movie, but it's not a great movie that puts over characters that people do know, but they're not as attached to, right? I will also attribute to Captain America 4 and the Marvels and Thunderbolts that the first outings for these characters don't need to go gangbusters because they are trying to establish the characters so that they can go gangbusters later. So they have to invest early in at the beginning, invest narratively, invest time and to get interest so that the third outing is hugely successful. But expecting them the problem is the expectations, of course. They expect Marvel movies to always, kill it at the box office. And it's clear that they aren't always going to be home runs. So it's an expectations things too. Um all that being said, like I think he's on. I think there are other factors. I think it's pretty clear with shit like Superman not going gangbusters that the landscape's different. And we got to actually acknowledge that. And y'all need to stop spending so much damn money on these movies. That's stop.
Actually, in that same article, Feige, I think he talked about that. It was in the Variety article, and he talked that they met with the creators of the movie, The Creator, because they pulled this whole movie for like 80 million, I think, something like that, and they were trying to learn how to scale down and how to spend less money and get more. He did mention that he doesn't know whether AI is gonna play part in it and making the stuff cheaper. So maybe that will finally
it'll play a part in
happen.
making it look weird. I'll say
Yes.
that much. It's actually I think it's an interesting technology, but I don't think it's just necessarily gonna add or make the cost better. I think it's just going to move costs around. But
Yeah.
the creator is quite a good movie. It looks great. The CG's not, and also another one they talked to they talked to the guy that was the director of Godzilla minus zero minus one, right? Sorry, minus zero minus one. Another movie that has good special effects and didn't spend a ton on it. Now, also they worked the shit out of the special effects people, so let's keep that in mind too. Um, so they have a lot of difficulties to navigate, but I think obviously as Marvel Studios they can do it. Speaking of difficulty they had to deal with, this was to me this was a cope to me. He was talking about moving away from Kang and the whole Jonathan Majors thing. and didn't mention Jonathan Majors, but he mentioned the actor. So he said, we had started even before what had happened to the actor. We had
Mm-hmm.
started to realize that Kang wasn't big enough, wasn't Thanos, that there was only one character that could be that because he was that in the comics for decades and decades. Uh,
I
but
mean, yeah, go on.
well, he said because of the Fox acquisition, we finally had it, and it was Doctor Doom. So we had started talking about Doctor Doom even before we officially pivoted from Kang. And in fact, I had started talking with Robert about this audacious idea before Ant-Man 3 even came out. It was a long plan that we had to take one of our greatest characters and utilize one of our greatest actors. um, yeah.
That is not only a cope. There's a bit of a lie in there, and there is like uh, incorrect facts because you wanted this cosmic multiversal thing. You do have on one hand Secret Wars, but then again, kind of like what Kang does. He like travels through time. He annoys everyone. He has different versions of himself. Don't try to tell me the story that he's not big enough. First of all, you can make anyone big enough. Thanos was almost forgotten, like until they brought him back. And are you trying to tell me that like Doom is bigger than Galactus? I mean, not in scale, not in scale. But they can make anyone big enough. This is just a lie.
It's so much cope.
Mm-hmm.
I read that, I was like, no, no player. I don't. I'm
Just go
not buying
ahead, just
this.
admit it.
I'm just not
Like
buying this.
things
Yeah,
got messed up. We had to figure out a new direction, and we did.
yeah.
And okay, I think it might work. So
It was a double whammy. One, they poorly handled the character. Like the cope part I'm talking about is poorly handling the character. Like they fucked up and let the writers do some stupid shit with him. Even though Loki season 1 did a good job of building him up, right? He Who Remains was a Kang. They built him up only to poorly use him. And then you got the Jonathan Majors thing. So don't be look, Feige, I get it. You're covering your ass and shit like that. Y'all are not thinking about switching from him. And then you realize, oh shit, he's got this case. We need to switch from him. And they made plans. They made for the eventuality that they had to let this guy go. So I don't want to hear this, but there's no fucking excuse for how y'all wrote him. That's Jonathan Majors, his personal problems had a fuck all to do with how y'all mismanaged the character. That is just the truth. There's no one watching any of the Marvel output that had Kang in it is going to sit there and say, "Well, dang, they were doing good with the character, and then Jonathan Majors fucked it up." Give me a break. That's not true. Get out of here. All right, but he's coping. uh, Real quick, let me catch up on the live chat. Freddie, this is probably from like 20 minutes ago. He says JL / Doctor Strange. Not sure what that's in reference to, but he also says, no, he says he's expecting Miss Marvel and X-Men. I also am expecting that.
yeah,
I
fair
think it's a
enough.
given. She's going to be splitting her time between Champions and X-Men, I think. He also says they might pivot because of the homework aspect. Like you say, she's talking about what we were speaking about. Like I said, about 15 or so
Mm-hmm.
minutes ago.
Yeah,
There is the homework aspect. The whole point of bringing the universe together and resetting it is so people don't have to go back and watch the old shit. Um, and oddly enough, that's sort of what's going on with DC right now, also because James Gunn is not letting go of Amanda Waller or Peacemaker or even the Suicide Squad. One thing, if y'all didn't catch it, he said Bloodsport is still canon, so Idris Elba could show up in the new DCU. So they are approaching it with like, we're just going to make sure you don't have to care about what happened before. Um, and so Joe also says the haters will never let go that the movie industry has changed forever with COVID. Yeah, I mean, they will. And look, my look, my look on that is, or my opinion on that is, that it will be used as cover when convenient, and it will be ignored when convenient too. So just because the point isn't to use data to form an opinion, it's to form an opinion and then find data that conforms with it. So, we all know that the movie industry is different than it was before COVID. We know that. We understand that. Box office is just a different thing. If things hitting a billion now is awesome, but like we're not expecting Marvel. You shouldn't be expecting Marvel things to hit a billion. Just that they make money. That's really what we should aim for. But box office is a barometer of popularity and success, but it is also tempered by the fact that COVID made people stream more, stay at the house more, right? There's more, there's other things to do. You can just wait for streaming, right? And until they can get people to be like, no, I can't wait for streaming, which in my opinion means don't put the shit on streaming for 6 months. Wait 6 months and then then people will go see it. Um, so let's we got a little more Feige things. I swear to God, we are gonna talk about Fantastic Four, y'all. We're gonna get it. It's gonna get there. I blame Feige. I'm telling you, he said, "Here's an info dump, y'all. We got to talk about it." So we did the moving on from Kang thing. Feige talking about filming with unfinished scripts. There's this because remember James Gunn's like, we are not filming anything until there's a script and it is locked, and I'm like, right on, man. Like, because that's budget overruns in these sorts of films come down to reshoots, right? Or changing things, in the middle of shooting. Because look, I'm no expert, but my understanding is you have a budget and like you spend a certain amount of money per day. So you need a certain number of days to finish your film. Overruns or reshoots or like any of that stuff fucks up your budget. So then you end up having to make more money at the box office to cover the fact that you were shooting extra shit basically. But he says like, hey, we always have a finished script when we start filming. It's just that when we're in the process, he calls it plussing, which is, hey, if somebody's got a good idea or another idea that's not in the script, or that we want to do something different, we'll do it. If it sounds good, we'll do it. So, and he also said he's never been satisfied with any of the movies they had when they came out. So the idea here, in other words,
so expect like 100 of headlines saying Kevin Feige hates Marvel movies.
He's never been satisfied with it. They're all bad.
I've already seen something like that.
Cosmic Circus says that. No, it's what I take away from that is we're done. We have a script that we're happy with, except we're not actually, we're happy with it, but not to the point where we're not gonna fuck around with it if necessary. And look, I get it. The first Iron Man worked that way. It was a lot of that dialogue was improv, or they made it up on the day of. I think that's a stupid way to work when you have VFX shots. It's easy. Look, it's easy to improv two people standing in a room talking to each other. Yo, sure, improv the fuck out of that. Don't be improvising them fighting. Don't be improvising them where we need to go to another planet. Don't be like, what would be really cool? What if instead of one Nova, Richard Rider, we have a bunch of dudes in ships? I don't think that's the improv. Actually, that's James Gunn, so I'm pretty sure that wasn't. But you get what I'm saying. You can't improv shit like that. That's millions of dollars to do. And so this whole plussing idea, look, I don't know shit. I don't work in Hollywood. Feige is the multi-millionaire running this show. And if that's the way they want to do business, cool. I just wonder how y'all gonna rein in budgets if you don't have a locked script that you don't deviate from, like in meaningful ways, right? They don't even know the third act. You know, they said they don't know the third act of Secret Wars. How the fuck you don't know the third act of Secret Wars? Y'all are literally on. Y'all are on the lot.
Vacation.
You're on location. Y'all are filming. Y'all are flying in various actors from their other work. They're doing other things. They're coming in and doing their bits. And y'all don't know how this shit ends?
Just in case, I'm just throwing it out there. I know how to end it.
Yeah. How to reboot the whole MCU.
And get rid of that Reed Richards.
Reed Richards turns into the Maker.
No.
What? But y'all, you get what I'm saying? Like, how can you say you want budgets to be reined in, but you're also saying we're willing to just do shit on the fly? Not, I mean, it's obviously it's not on the fly, but you get what I'm saying? It's too. It doesn't work. Doesn't make sense to me.
Well, they'll figure it out. I mean, they've done so good so far.
Yeah,
they'll figure it out. I have no doubts in that.
Yeah, it's.
But I think that the method it has worked. It has been working for a while, and even the fact that they have hit or miss movies, it's not. It's probably the lack of general direction, but they had good projects. They had great projects. Not all of them had the finished script. Some of them became better, probably because they were changed. So,
yeah,
if it works for them, it works.
They have flexibility.
There is room for different methods.
Yeah, I will accept that. Like, they have flex, but look, they're not. Except for Secret Invasion, they haven't really made anything bad. Some of them just have been not as good as others. And this is not a Madam Web situation. They will never make a Madam Web. Well, I guess they did already. They made Secret Invasion. That's their Madam Web. But I don't think that. I think that you're right. There is room for different things. But I'm like, I feel like you're have cross purposes here. You want budgets lower, but you also want to be flexible to make changes on set. So, make it make sense, I guess. So Feige also talked about DEI and the woke backlash, which, by the way, I want to say he's a real one for this. Kevin Feige said, I said this before woke and DEI became a thing, and I'm still saying it after. Marvel is the world outside your window. It's not Gotham City and Metropolis. This is New York and LA. And yes, there's also Wakanda and Asgard, but it is all made up of the people who make up our world. All right. We don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but the point is, he's not buying into this narrative that we've got to be anti-woke or that DEI is bad or that diversity or inclusion is bad. He's essentially doubling down. And I want to say that this is, if he's saying this straight up, he's probably gotten the okay to sort of toe this line from Iger, because Iger's that's his boss, his immediate boss. And I will say this much about Iger, to his credit, he hasn't done like what other media company heads have done, which is make a big show of being, shutting down the DEI. I mean, obviously Disney is doing that, but he hasn't made a big show about it, like Paramount and Skydance are right now, because they want to please Daddy Trump, right? So for their merger, or paying out money or whatever the fuck they're doing to please him. So in America, anti-woke bullshit is going, and get all these coloreds and women and gays out of my face. Keep your politics out of there. Keep your liberal politics out of my superhero stuff.
Movies.
Yeah, it's a thing. And he's just like, nah, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. Like, that sounds good. We're gonna keep doing what we were doing before. Go cry to your mama. He didn't say that. I wish he had. I wish he had been like, you know what, yeah, you'll be okay if you see a black woman in charge. You kept her out of the White
You'll
House.
survive.
You're not going to keep her out of my movies. Yeah, exactly. So, like I said, he's kind of a real one for that. Um, I do wish people would stop acting like the word woke is bad, but you got to play on the field that you're on, and I feel like he covered that pretty well. Um, and is this the final one? Oh yeah, finally. This is the last thing. Briefly, he talked about Brand New Day, Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is coming out next year. And Punisher. And so we know they're filming they're filming both of them. Punisher and the Punisher special and Brand New Day is still, or has Brand New Day started? I feel like they haven't started yet.
I'm not so sure.
I feel
Not
like
so sure.
I'm not sure if they started, but either way, Punisher is filming right now. He says, "I think there is a promise at the end of No Way Home that for as sad as it is that Peter is forgotten by everyone in his life, we are seeing for the first time in the Tom Holland Spider-Man stories him being a proper Spider-Man, him being by himself, dedicated to saving the city and dealing with, for lack of better terms, street-level crime as opposed to world-ending events." Yes, or in other words, it's about damn time Spider-Man actually Spider-Man. Stop being Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, if you will. Bringing Punisher in, cool. He also sort of talked about there can be other R-rated stuff, but that Punisher is not going to be R-rated in Spider-Man. He's going to be more like the way he showed up when he in his first appearance, which was in Spider-Man, where he was gunning for Spider-Man literally. But he's going to be more of a PG-13 Punisher. So I'm just assuming that when he shoots people, it'll cut away to him looking at it.
He's gonna be judge and jury, but not the execution.
Yeah, well, he'll execute, but they'll be executed, off screen.
Off screen, like
yeah.
With little to no blood.
Yeah, I mean, if he has blood, it'll be, it'll just be a dark spot on his already dark stuff. He wears black, so I mean, what I really want from them is to have him in his comics accurate, jumpsuit. Just the white skull. They'll never do it because they like all the pouches and stuff. The tactical gear. Good.
Liefeld look.
I just say that good. Brand new, like Tom Holland swinging around the city and beating up Scorpion would be nice for a change. Or webbing up purse snatchers. Are there purse snatchers? I'm assuming there are still purse snatchers in New York.
I don't know.
I guess.
I think that like if there are any, that now would be the time for them to reappear.
I think it's nice that they're explicitly saying he's going to be actually street level. Because I think he should be.
Good luck with all those cameras, but sure.
He webs them up when he flies by, so when he swings by. I have always thought that he should be the apex, the power like he should be at the top of the food chain when it comes to street level crime. Like that's his. Like he's the big dog and no more. We don't want anyone stronger than him going around and trying to deal with the hood. Not the hood. What's his name? Tombstone or whatever. So if that's where we're going, cool. I'm with it. All right. So look, that's a lot of stuff. Feige, next time, dude, just be. Why you gotta be like?
Keep
this?
it like save it for the next week. Save it for the Comic Con.
We have we got a whole Fantastic Four movie to talk about, and it's taking us an hour to talk about your shit. Anyway, I'm sure I missed some stuff, y'all. We'll save it for next week. Let's talk about Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four, first steps in theaters right now. You saw Herbie. Was hanging out with me while I was watching. I went and saw it twice yesterday. Some of you have seen it only once. Some of you got to see it a couple times. It is Friday, the official first day of the movie. I think it's projected to make 110 million, something like that, which is a bit below where Superman debuted. And look, this is the first time that we're going to see the Fantastic Four in the MCU. this was always coming when Disney bought Fox years ago. It felt like it took forever, but here we are. Um, this is a move. Look, this movie is a Reed Richards apologist dream. I think. I know,
I
but
disagree.
and we'll get into it. But I'll say if you ever wanted to see the rough edges of Reed Richards smoothed over, you knew they were going here when they put Pedro Pascal. I was like, they're like, nope. They pulled out the sandpaper and they're like, all get them rough edges out. Where no, we're all of that Reed Richards foolishness. I mean, you can't hate him. It's Pedro Pascal, y'all.
You can hate him. It's very easy. I'll teach you.
Well, this movie is an explicit, like it's a multiverse movie, so this wouldn't work without the multiverse saga being in play. It takes place on Earth 828, where the Fantastic Four are the only superheroes on the Earth. It is a retro period, a 60s period piece. It's an explicitly Silver Age period piece. I'll even say, but it's a Silver Age that is not. It's not quite the one we know, because you can tell this is a world where the things that actually happened in the 60s weren't happening, right? This is a comic book version of the 60s where, there's all of the strife and shit that was actually happening in the 60s is not happening. And instead, stuff like, that's happening in the comics was happening. It's been 4 years since the Fantastic Four got their powers and sort of came back to Earth and started remaking the world into this Tomorrowland, World's Fair looking world. And it's all fantastic. And then suddenly, the Silver Surfer shows up and is like, Galactus is hungry. And he saw the Earth and was like, that's a snack that I need to have. I really want to
Sounds like Galactus.
I want to sandwich it between the moon and he wants an Earth Dagwood, if you will. He's gonna eat it like if you. By the way, if Dagwood, that's from the comic strip Blondie, just a big sandwich. That's what I'm trying to say. He's quite hungry, and he won't take no for an answer, but he will take that baby. So he's like Fat Bastard, basically, from Austin Powers. It's like he's like, I want that baby back, baby. So the movie, look, this movie's whole deal is that it needed to reintroduce the Fantastic Four, take the disgusting taste out of our mouth that Fant Four Stick kind of put into it, and to push the multiverse saga forward, because it is going to be leading into basically Doomsday. And it had to present this in a way that you didn't have to watch anything else and still be able to enjoy this movie in it. I don't know about how you feel about this, Polly. It succeeds in that way. It succeeds.
Of course it does. Of course it does. It doesn't. It is its own movie with all that. It doesn't necessarily spend too much time setting up Doomsday, but it does create the feeling of a bigger multiverse. And I think it's the first. It's the second movie that we actually have that is happening outside what they call 616, which is not the MCU. But it is a whole separate story, which you can watch if you haven't seen anything before, and you can watch if you're not going to watch anything again. It's a fully complete story in this sense. And it does definitely set up the Doomsday. It does, but it does it tastefully.
Yeah. I think this movie, I think, is the most comic book movie Marvel has made yet. Like, if you've thought like I used to think Avengers, the first Avengers, I was like, wow, this is a very comic book movie. So is Age of Ultron is too, in many ways, in the way it presents its story. this movie is a love letter to the Silver Age. It is even explicitly an appreciation piece for Jack Kirby. Um, like it takes everything that the Fantastic Four Silver Age put on paper and said, let's make this a real thing. So you get a New York and a world that is very much looks like I was wondering before, I'm like, how the fuck do you explain the Baxter building? How do you explain, or Four Freedoms Plaza, or whatever you want to call it? How do you explain that? How do you explain the fact that there's a fucking rocket that they can just get on and just fly? How do you explain any of that? And they're like this. It's a like this is a world where if there's a mole man, I believe it. Sure, I absolutely believe that. Look, this is a world where in 20 hours we're gonna get on a ship and go into space. Okay, sure, yeah, because there's so much super science. There's so much super science and like fantastical, like atomic age, like technology and shit
it's
like
the
that.
whole definition of retrofuturism, and it's the perfect illustration for that.
Yeah.
It does, in terms of style, it is probably the most stylish. I don't know. I probably said it about some other movie too, but like it's definitely stylish, especially for those who are fans of the 60s and the whole look and aesthetic of that time. But at the same time, it really does feel like a comic book, just like Superman. Like I love that in this particular season, both Marvel and DC just went back to the source material and pulled from it, and they weren't trying to make it like more broody, darker, gritty, less bright. They just took what they had to work with and they just used it, and as an adaptation it is probably perfect.
Yeah. Joe says the movie was legit like reading a Silver Age Fantastic Four issue, but with all the best parts. Yes. I'll say again.
And without some of the worst ones.
Yeah, they take away some of the period specific like misogyny and racism and shit like that.
Mostly portrayed by Reed.
Yeah. They take
it's
a lot
always
about
like
it out.
When something like that happens, it's always Reed.
They do. They take a lot of that out, for the better. Because this is a world that is more unified. It's like that they live on a different world where things are like a lot better in society and amongst people because of the way they are able to unify and do shit. To me, it is a distillation of the kind of the futurist optimism of the 60s that spawned the World's Fair and Tomorrowland and stuff like that. It is an encapsulation of that.
I think
ethos.
they mentioned something like that during the Blue Carpet premiere stream, that the whole optimism thing from that time.
That they believe,
and that's very fair.
When we believe that we would have settlements on the moon and shit like that. So this is a world where that's actually real. Like there, and it's there are,
Well, except they don't have settlements on the moon, and I'm pretty sure Reed is selling his technology to the police because they
have flying
remember
cars.
Those flying cars, yes. So that's what he's doing. That's the kind of person Reed is.
He can't ditch the paternalism. I also like. Joe says there's no insufferable early Ben Grimm. True that. They don't just sand off the edges off of Reed. They fix some of the things that annoy me so much about the early. And the thing is, I get why Stan wrote them the way he wrote them, because these are comics aimed at kids. And what's more something that a kid can identify with than having an older brother or
throwing a tantrum all the time,
or that you fight with all the time. Ben and Johnny, their relationship is two brothers that fight all the time, right? That's just
but Ben is like in the early comics, he's not just insufferable, like Joe said. He's just
he's
inadequate. Like he's just he does not have self-control at all. He acts like a child, like Ed.
Yeah. He also
I don't
said
know.
the inseparable relationship between Johnny and Ben earlier. Yeah, like it's really a no, like it's not a good look. But they basically none of that's maybe that was happening in the first year that they, but it's been 4 years since they've been. So now they are. I think they're a well-oiled machine. In fact, the nailing the family dynamic was so important in this, and they get it right. Not one time did I feel like I didn't believe them or that I didn't like their dynamic with each other. Every single one of them play off of each other.
Except Reed. I mean, seriously, no. I think I talked about that ever since I saw the movie, but there are moments that I love how they are done, but and like how they're portrayed and how they're written. But they show that there is definitely more to this Reed, and despite him not being openly misogynistic or like openly saying those things, he thinks them, and everybody around him knows that. Everybody looks at him and they know what he's about to say. They expect this from him, and he's creepy. He's like terrifying. And what was I talking about? I just started talking about Reed Richards, and every other thought just escaped my mind.
Well, just we were talking about the family dynamic, like the way everyone plays off of each other.
But yeah, in general, they do feel like a real family, and they do interact like a family, and that's really cool. That's something that it's genuine. It feels genuine. It's not fake.
Right, exactly. Maverick 77 Defender in the chat says the Fantastic Four has a stronger concept to work with than the Marvels, but it does not achieve the entertainment levels of the Marvels. It has fewer problems, but it's not nearly as enjoyable. I mean, I could see that. I think the Marvels they swung a lot harder for the fences than Fantastic Four did, but I think as a cohesive story, like this story, it's not overly complicated, and it's almost ripped straight from the comics. The whole Galactus,
except for like the Ultimate Nullifier.
Yeah, that they their solution for it is a little more MCU than it is comics, but that's fine. But they lean into the comic book aspects of it and don't shy away from it, and I quite enjoyed it. I think the aesthetics of this movie are just top notch. The production design is on point. They spent their money on CG well. There's not too much that's not good. They have a CG baby, and I noticed it, but I was just like, I'm fine with that. Like, it's fine.
I mean, that baby reminded me of that baby from Twilight. Kind of creepy, but I'm okay with that. I don't want to see like a real baby paraded around the set, and I don't care for babies in general.
Real baby Franklin he's a cute kid. Like when they had real baby Franklin there, I was like, okay, yeah, I see why Sue wouldn't want to. Like she's like, fuck the world. You're not kidding my child. But
so if he were ugly, you'd be like, take it.
I mean,
it is Reed's child.
No, I get like there's look, the story makes sense to me. It's easy to follow. Like the progression from beginning to end. It's very easy to follow. They realize both Silver Surfer and Galactus very well, right? Like they're very otherworldly, and they should be. Like they don't try to make the CG make them look real. In fact, it works because this whole movie, the whole world of 828 is Technicolor. It looks like what the 60s thought the future would look like, right? It's very bright. There's not a lot of darkness even in the dark
parts. It's not exactly bright. I wouldn't call it bright. It's a little bit faded, like
a little
chronic.
I know exactly what you mean too.
Yeah, yes. So it has this style and look and aesthetic, and it sticks to it. It's great. And in terms of story, in terms of the plot, it's just a plot from the comics. Like, what more do you want?
Yeah.
It's a story from the comics. There is a bad guy. There is a problem. You need to find a way to fix it.
Yeah.
And then it uses something that Superman also did. Like in many ways, they're very parallel to each other. Like there's been some time since both like the Fantastic Four and Superman became known, and then something happened. They in the middle of other stuff, and something happens, yada yada.
Mhm.
But the point is that they used comic book pacing, and it kind of like that's what makes it feel like reading a comic book. They use the same pacing. They take scenes, they dive into those scenes, they give them enough time, but then they jump and they use time jumps and stuff like that. It's it works. For some reason it works, and it's not overly rushed. It doesn't feel rushed. Despite the movie being only 1 hour and 55 minutes,
it's a
I
bit
didn't
under.
feel that it was short.
I feel like it was. I
And
feel like it needed more. To be honest, I wanted more. I could have done with 15 or 20 more minutes.
I could have, but they weren't necessary. I think that they did everything perfectly well in every single scene. There is nothing more I wanted from each scene that I didn't get.
Well, the way, and I thought about it because I saw it twice, and I was like, I wasn't as enthused with it on the second run because I knew what was going to happen. So I really was looking at it more from like, all right, how how's it making me feel, but also what overall, where is it working and where isn't it working, and it really did kind of come down to me that the things that didn't work for me weren't technical or even character wise. It's that there wasn't enough. Like, and I know it's weird to be like, oh, it's a 2 hour long movie. Why is not enough? Because I realized I was like, what am I missing here? I feel like they could have spent a little more time rather than exposition dumping at the beginning, which is fine. I don't mind the exposition dumping. They're trying to let you know this is a world, things have happened beforehand. They happened. We're in the middle of something right now. Cool. I would have liked for them to have them on like some kind of adventure, or I don't even want to say adventure, but rather than just showing
on an outer space adventure.
I'm glad they didn't show how they got their power. I'd have been cool with them dealing with dealing with Mole Man a little more extensively, or dealing with the various other bad guys a little more extensively, just to kind of get more of an understanding of their characters in the thick of things, right? When they're fighting together as a unit, because you get that in Guardians, where you get to see them working together a little more often. Now, later on in the movie, yeah, they are working
That's the
together.
second movie, though.
The first Guardians has you. How do they meet? And then it shows them coming together the first time to work together. I'm not saying we got to see that, but it would have been nice to have 10, 15 extra minutes where you see them dealing with Mole Man, having a little more.
I get that.
Expand that, or keep John Malkovich in. I know they cut him. It'd have been nice to just see them enter, because I think it would have seeing them as a team fighting together, and not as just a clip here or there like you're watching a newsreel, but actually seeing them deal with the issue, resolve it, and then like, oh, cool, on to the next thing. We're going back to home. We're gonna, we got Sunday dinner or whatever. That would have been cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I feel like
I would actually
short.
argue that it could have been there. That would have been nice, but I do appreciate much more that they focused on their everyday life and on the way they interact as a family, because that's how you that's what gave us the feeling that they're family. The fact that we've seen that they're superheroes, and we know that they're superheroes, and for God's sake, we've seen so many superheroes movies at this point. We know what it looks like. We know how you beat up bad guys, and we're gonna see them use their powers too.
Right.
But the more important thing here is character work, and character work is something that's done absolutely magnificently in this movie. It's absolutely great. They did focus. I mean, they didn't spend too much time on every other character, but I feel like they still had enough of development. But they did really focus on the four main characters, and they all did. We got to know them.
Right.
Really got to know them, especially Sue, who was uh, for a long time in the comics, she was like kind of this question mark. She didn't have anything of her own. It's only like in the later years she became a doctor of archaeology. She became like started doing all this political charity stuff. But before that, she had nothing.
Yeah.
She was just a mother. And here she is already established before she becomes a mother, which is also nice. We, of course, in the performance, I feel like we learn about Reed a lot without him even talking. And all the phrases that he says, they kind of add a little more depth to his character. So it's brilliantly written, in my opinion. I would say I like what they did with Johnny very much. I like his relationship with Reed was a big element of it, but I do feel like they didn't quite have the time to develop Ben a little deeper. But I think they will do it eventually. Because obviously the most obvious thing they could have done is bring in Alicia, and then
Oh, they're not doing
that would
that.
give him.
They're not
Huh?
gonna. They're not gonna do that. They're setting somebody else up.
I
which
mean,
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that at the moment. But yeah.
but they could have done that and went, the whole comic book road. But I like that they didn't, because
Mm.
again, it gives room for his character to be developed, and since he doesn't need to actually grow from a whiny child to the character that he is now, which
Right.
is like an amazing one, a family man that like really the true family of the Fantastic Four is Ben, Alicia, and their kids, and not Reed and Sue and whatever their kids are. Doom's child and the other one.
Yeah.
Uh, so uh, since they don't need to actually change his character, I mean they have to work on him a little more to bring him to that point. But
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I enjoyed the like. I think this. What's interesting about the characterization is they sort of subvert some expectations, or they flip some expectations, because if you are a comics fan, like, and that's good if you don't know anything about the comics, none of this will be relevant to you. But if you are a comics fan, it's possible that some of these storylines that we know that are kind of famous in comic book circles have happened already. But Ben is he's at a place of acceptance. You notice that, like,
You
he
know what? It's kind of a place of acceptance, because, and that was in the interview again on the blue carpet when they asked the actor where is Ben, and he said that like he's not quite there yet. He deals with it. He like pretends, he puts on the
oh,
facade
I
that
see
he's
it.
okay with
There's
that,
a bit
but
that
he's not there yet. And it's actually shown because he in his loneliness, and he's like in he is the part of the part of the family, but he still feels like he's
yeah.
lonely. Uh,
He's very steadfast. That's why I like. That's what really he's physically a rock, but I think he is emotionally a stability for the movie also. Um,
yeah, and
and
yeah,
he's
and
clearly
his voice, the voice that the fact that they didn't choose to not change his voice is pretty
yeah.
amazing, because it gives him this calm demeanor, which is uh,
He's
a much more pleasant
Did you know?
persona than
Yeah,
Erica Cummings. Yeah.
he's cool. Like he's not off put. Like he's to me, I always liked every scene with him. His character is perceptive. You know, he's level headed. I think he steadies them. I think they turn to him for for his presence and the way he sort of, but also in the thick of things, he's gonna handle it. Like as the pilot, he's used to just being like, I'm in the middle of the action. I got this, y'all. He doesn't have a problem with confidence. He's not overconfident. Um, I think it's interesting that Franklin so clearly is taken with him. like he is very. You notice that
Well,
Franklin.
he needs a normal father figure.
Yeah, Franklin never cried with him. So I thought that was interesting. I think Sue. I agree. I think they really settled on a version of her that's the best of all worlds. She's clearly not just the best of them. She's the best of them in terms of her powers. She's the best of them in terms of her ethics and morals. In terms
Well,
of
they
her,
always said that she's the strongest one. That's always been the case. Uh, in terms of ethics, well, if it's not her, then it's what Reed?
I think she's the best of them, and like she clearly is the one that's taken her job as one of the leaders of the as one of the Fantastic Four to be let's affect some change in the world to the point where in the movie she is a world leader. She's literally a world leader, making making things happen.
Are we talking spoilers yet?
Well, I mean, I think they said this beforehand too. That before the movie came out, they said she's a world.
No. I'm just asking because I was
yeah. We're gonna
gonna
we should get
provide
to
example.
Yeah, we should. We actually. So I think let's just button up that non-spoiler bit. I think a movie's great. I put it on an A tier, and so A tier is like for me is like Captain America: The First Avenger, which is a movie I really like. Like I don't think it's not S tier, but it is a great entry for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think it's a good lead in to the next big thing. It introduces these or reintroduces these characters in a way that I think leaves fertile ground for more storytelling and for more cross pollination across the MCU. And my only thing is, I don't think it's going to make the money that maybe it should, but I think that people be like, "Oh, Marvel's back." First of all, shut the fuck up. Marvel's never went away.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I'm glad that people that say that found something to connect with in this because I think this movie has a lot of good going for it, and that we should be happy about the fact that they are fully going into the comic book aspect of it, and hopefully this means that they won't be afraid of doing that shit in the future. So, what say you before we do spoilers?
Yeah. I usually don't rank movies like 5 out of 5 stars or 10 out of 10, whatever. But I do judge them by rewatchability, and I am definitely gonna come back and rewatch this movie a lot. I like that it's very separated from everything else. I like that it stays true to the comics without actually copying them. I like that it's the story, the character work. It's definitely worth watching.
Right.
It's one of the best for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So that's our non-spoiler talk. I'm gonna do some stuff from the chat before we get into our spoilers. So, Joe said it's very simple, and I think that's what makes it good. I agree. Easy to follow. That's why I said this is a kid-friendly movie. It really is. Even the scariest stuff in the movie is not too scary for even younger kids. They'll be
not too scary for someone who has to grow up in the current world.
Maverick.
Y'all better get ready.
Maverick says what he said. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer is a better movie. Are it better than this one? I don't agree with that.
No.
I mean, your
there is like no not agreeing, and then no.
I will say, look, if you enjoyed Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, good on you. I'm always I'm always for people enjoying things that they enjoy. I didn't really care for the movie, but I also didn't think the Fox Fantastic Four movies were all that good. But I
don't think they were bad, but
they weren't
this
bad.
is like infinitely better in terms of staying true to the comics.
Yeah, I don't think they're bad. They're just not. They were missing a few things, but I will say that looks were good. Joe says we got to see some new characters without bringing in characters we're used to. like Polly said, this caters to people who have never seen an MCU movie or read a comic book before. Yeah, I mean, I think their mission was basically to make sure you knew the Fantastic Four, and they brought in Galactus because people are, you know, somewhat aware of that, and that Silver Surfer is a pretty iconic character that is not most well known, but a lot of people recognize that silver guy on the surfboard. So bringing that all in was a good idea. um, Joe also said he didn't like that the love interest wasn't Alicia. Yeah, that this a new is a new character specifically for this movie. So we're I guess since we are talking about spoilers now, what was her name again?
Rachel.
Right. Okay, Rachel. No, played by Natasha Lyonne. Look, I'm not gonna even pretend like I don't have a huge soft spot for Natasha Lyonne, especially in the last few years because I love Poker Face so much. And she looks good in it. Like she's got on her like stuff. Like she look. To be honest, I'm like, did y'all dress her to look like Gwen Stacy on purpose? Because she sort of has a Gwen Stacy look to her. Like, and I don't mean like I mean comic book Gwen Stacy. So if you saw Gwen Stacy in the Spider-Man comics from the Silver Age, you'll know what I'm talking about. She's really nice. She's a teacher, so and Ben has.
I mean,
it's pretty clear that Ben has an affinity.
He did have a love interest. Who was I think she was also a teacher in the comics, and he was about to marry her, but he didn't. And then he got back together with Alicia. So I think that's kind of a reference to her. I don't remember her name. It was B something like.
I don't know.
Becky or something. Well,
what was also
happened.
I think what was also great about that character is they were because remember he's down on Yancey. He's down in his old neighborhood, and they're like, "Hey y'all, Ben's Jewish for real, y'all. For real. He's Jewish for real. Just in case you missed it, he's Jewish." And I appreciate that. I'm not making fun of that. I appreciate that. He goes into the synagogue at one point, and she's like, "Are you here for spiritual guidance?" He's like, "No, I'm here to see you." Which was Ben being like, "Look, the world's about to end. I'm a shoot my shot," which is a weird. I mean, look, if you got a last minute shoot, shots still count. I get, if you last minute shots count too. It was very cute. I think she played it very, very well because I want to see more. I want to see them, follow up on that. Since we are in spoilers, I think that we are going to have. I think you and I are going to not disagree, but I think we're going to have a bit of a different take on Reed's, not just Reed, but his plan. Reed's look, Reed, you brought up something, and I was like, that's reasonable, but like this man's back was against the wall. Like
he was about to teleport the whole goddamn Earth without its moon. What the hell were you thinking, smartest man on Earth?
No,
everybody.
Who even needs
except maybe Reed Richards.
I mean,
that's what probably was his way of thinking. I don't know, but I said it. I mean, he's not the smartest man on earth, obviously. Like, he will have a kid eventually, probably, who is smarter than him. Maybe, like, Valeria will be born and tell him, "What the hell were you thinking, Dad?" And then she'd throw a tantrum and live with Doom again. But it's not even about his plan. It's just about his persona. I love the portrayal, and I said it already, because it has an equal amount of, like, his scientific approach to everything, studying people around him. That's Reed that we know and hate and love to hate. But he's a little bit terrifying. There is something terrifying between his, like, behind his look, like behind every emotion. There is something terrifying. You know that something is going on in his head, and he's thinking something horrible, and then he spells it out. He says that it's his job to think the unthinkable. That's something that's lifted directly, like, from Reed from Secret Wars, when he built the thingy to destroy the other world, and then he, well, bitched out and didn't use it. He was like, I don't have the guts to use it, and everybody else was like, yeah, we don't either. And Namor did it. Good for him. But that is the real. He would build a doomsday machine, and then he would be too afraid to use it, but he'll keep it around just in case, and somebody will get their hands on it. He's not a safety first person. He's but like I said, it's still that same Reed. There is just added a little bit of more emotion than we used to see on a comic book page, and they got rid of all his misogyny, even though they kept like some of his paternal
his paternalism
instincts.
is,
That are like, yes, when he says like, I'll go to see Galactus, Galactus like is ready to see you, and he says, I'll go, and Shalabal says, no, you'll all go. But that's Reed. Like, he thinks that he's the leader. He thinks that it's his responsibility, that he's that important and that smart, and that he knows better than anyone else. And of course, he's proven wrong. Of course,
I think it was interesting. Well,
but it's the same character.
It is. I think it's it's interesting that he's more self-aware than Reed usually is. Like, not just I mean, like, he's aware of his faults. Like,
I would say that he admits them, like, to the audience in general, but he's not more self-aware. I mean, 616 Reed understands those things too. He knows that he's flawed. He knows that he doesn't know everything. He knows that he's weird and has like a different understanding of human connection and human interaction. And he knows that he's creepy and shady. This one just spells it out, and because it happens in the span of 2 hours, that's why it feels like he's self-aware.
I think I
don't get fooled.
I find it interesting that he doesn't have a call for it, so maybe he will do it later. He's not trying to cover over his mistakes in this movie. Like, he makes a mistake and then, like, oh shit, let me make sure no one finds out about it. So he doesn't, like, and that's I thought that they were gonna, because they made it seem like he was the reason why Shalabal was aware of them, but then they cut that out of the movie. So it's just basically she found them and was like, all right,
you know what? That is one take. But what if that actually happened and Reed then made them cut it out to cover up his mess again?
It's like, I was like, okay, because remember he was like, I think I brought them here in the trailer, and then like that's not in the movie at all. So it's not clear that maybe she just found them, because, and probably more than likely it's because
but he monitored like things that happened, and he kept bringing this recordings
he was
that Jonah used later.
He was aware of these other planets getting destroyed, but he didn't know why. He wasn't aware of why it was happening. He was just like, I have the information, I don't know what's causing it. He was aware of transmissions from other civilizations. He just didn't know what they were saying or where they were from.
He didn't try to find out. It seems like he just was just busy with other things.
Yeah, it was interesting, and he was recording them, but he wasn't like,
he studying them, and if he actually spent some time studying them, maybe like called some linguists or something. So it's, again, Reed Richards fucked up. Reed Richards pretended he didn't. It's same old Reed.
I'd say I would call it benign neglect, because there was no reason for him, like, aside, because clearly they knew probably aliens existed, because they had an FTL drive. So, like, this is one of those things where they've already been to space before. He has an FTL drive just sitting in orbit above the Earth. But it was like not of super importance to go ahead and decipher this. It was just an interesting bit of data that he will get to eventually. but his awareness, like he's not papering over his fuck ups. He mostly,
Yet, like I
yeah,
said, for
yeah.
all we know, because we don't know if he's already meeting with the Council of Reeds secretly.
Wait, I mean, look. Let's not assume anything yet. The read we know right
It's
now.
Reed.
The read we know right now in this movie is, he's a bit paternalist, but not as much as he has been in the comics. He's not apparently doing anything shady yet. Like he's not
No,
he's not
kind
being
of is.
he's not been caught with his pants down, but also he has the capacity for it. It's clear, and not only that, Sue is aware. She's fully aware that he has
she
the
watches
capacity.
him. She knows.
Yeah,
She knows that.
she's aware that he has the capacity. Like they have that whole little confrontation. Now we want to call it that conversation.
I love it when she yelled at him.
She was like, she's like, yeah, you have, and like, it's pretty clear that he gamed out the whole. If we do give him away, can we do it? And look, it's the dilemma that has been presented in many other places. There's a whole Stephen King story, and it got turned into a TV movie called Storm of the Century, where it's literally about a demon dude coming to a small town on an island. He's like, look, I need a successor. I can't have kids. Give me one of your kids. And he's literally like, give me what I want and I'll go away. He's like, I have the power to destroy everyone. I wipe y'all out. I have the power to do it. I don't want to do that. I just want a successor. Y'all get together, decide one of your kids is going to be my successor. I'll take him or her away from you. And you'll never see me again. You just have to live with the fact that y'all collectively decided that one person's child is worth everyone else's survival. That's the movie, right?
Philosophy. But then again, they had options, and like the moment when I don't remember who, I think Johnny asked, like, we're not actually gonna run away, are we? Because they all looked at Reed because they knew that Reed probably would, like, if somebody would have said, yeah, we're running away, that would be him.
And technically they were like, we are gonna run away.
No, they all know what he is, and they all know how he is.
Look, when we were talking about this, or on Threads, I was just like, look, this is them being backed into making a terrible choice. Like it really was like, this is not my kid, and God, I would hate myself if I had to make a choice for this. But it's 8 billion people, or I guess at that time 6 billion, however many people in the 60s was, versus one kid. That's a hard call, unless that's not your kid. If it's not your kid, this is easy. An entire world. We know for sure, because they went and confirmed it. He's going to eat the entire fucking world. We know for sure.
And the people outside the Baxter building, that was bound to happen with that decision. When I thought that, like, they wouldn't tell the world, and normally Reed from the comics, he would never ever admit that. I think Sue said it. I'm not so sure.
No, he said it. He said the cost was too high. He said the cost was too high. They wanted our kid. And and the funny thing is, he was like, well, obviously we said no. And there was this. They had already started talking as if they're like, so they're like, oh, so you gave the kid away, right? Oh, wait, why is the kid here? And look,
maybe they had twins.
The thing is,
no. I do understand the dilemma and stuff like that. That is true. That comic book Reed would never actually confess to the whole crowd of people that he made the choice to not save them. But what Sue did was actually, that was one of the greatest moments in the movie for me, because she like walked out of the building with the kid, and she like let them meet him and made it personal for them too. And everything she did in that scene was so amazing. I don't know.
If this was
that is fucking amazing writing.
If it was in 616, somebody would have tried to snatch that baby and be like, Galactus,
oh hell yeah,
come get this. They would have, but like obviously she knew she was safe because she's the Invisible Woman. Ain't nobody fucking with her.
The baby would be like the Infinity Gauntlet.
I think
all the heroes would be.
I think it was a brilliant move because it's one thing to be like, because this is a problem we have in our society, is the ability to look at people as numbers or as an abstract rather than an actual person. So it's real easy to be like, I'm gonna sacrifice this baby, but then you got to look at that baby in someone's arms, and now you got to turn your humanity off because we're kind of instinctively like, yay babies, right? And so turning your humanity off in order to sacrifice them, it's the right move. Look, let's be clear. It's the right move because if that wasn't Reed Richards, they are fucked, right? If that's not Reed Richards pulling some shit out of his ass, which is, let's call it like it is. His plan
would have been Valeria.
His plan was pulling shit out of his ass. That's what it was. He just so happened to have a MacGuffin that would work.
And just so we remember who the hell Reed is, let's not ignore the fact that he was just about to teleport Galactus God knows where. He doesn't know anything about that place. And for all we know, he sacrificed a bunch of people. He doesn't know.
Not us.
He did the same thing.
It ain't us.
That is Reed. Yeah.
So he sent Galactus away, but he had the MacGuffin just sitting there at the beginning. So instead of Ultimate Nullifier, we got the Ultimate Teleporter, which I thought that was a good way to kind of work because it leads to a good third act, a good finale that really is thrilling. There's a lot of cool stuff happening in it. And all of it is revolving around the fact that the Silver Surfer is such a cool fucking character. Like, remember all of the bitching about it before? They're like, oh, it's a girl Silver Surfer and woke and man, shut the hell up. She was cool as hell. Like, she was just the right amount of detached. She's a cosmic figure. Mm-hmm. She's just the right amount of detached that still has her humanity or whatever you want to call the Zen Lai in it Zen Lai
and that's
Can I say
that's where they really I can say it. I wouldn't even try. But I love that what they did is they used Journey's character. They finally utilized him. They showed that Reed does underestimate him, which is also true. And they kept all his like more questionable qualities with his like love for women and stuff like that. His lack of direction in general in life, and Sue meddling in his relationships, all of those moments that happened in the comics, they kind of like slightly present there, but they also gave him a really cool thing to do and actually made him be helpful to the team, right. Which is something that doesn't often happen in the comics, because a lot of time he's always ready to sacrifice himself for his family, for everyone and stuff like that. But he does that here too. Again, he offers himself instead of the child, but Reed doesn't think of that. What if it's your genes that may make him special? Like, what if you have the same set of genes or something? You can be successor to Galactus. He doesn't even think to offer himself.
I think Reed...
Great father!
I'm going to say this about Reed in that moment. He already knows that Galactus has said pretty clearly he wants the kid. Now, whatever it is that he thinks is in that... He explained it to them. Johnny was just like, that's a Hail Mary. That's like, oh, please, hopefully this will work. But like,
yeah, but he could have tried.
Look, if Galactus wanted you, he would have said, I want all 5 of y'all. He didn't say that. He said, "I want
And
the."
nobody wants Reed Richards.
He said, "I want the baby." This I do.
But then,
Oh, go ahead. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I was gonna just finish this thought about
Yeah.
Johnny, that they really made his character interesting and useful to the team and a part of the family, and so really, they really made him a better character than he is in the comics. He didn't quite use every opportunity to fuck everything up for the team.
Well,
That's good.
and it goes along with the fact that they made in the comics, the original, like the first issue, it explains why they got their powers, and it's really stupid. Can we just admit and accept it's really stupid? Like none of it doesn't make any sense with what we know about the way space flight works or anything. And this one, it's different. They Johnny, Ben, Sue, and Reed are the best people for the job, right? They are all.
They did not steal the rocket.
Yeah, they didn't steal. First of all, Reed, because he's so smart, he probably was like the driving force behind the space program that got them to where they were going. And it turns out that Ben may be the least intelligent on the crew, and he's still really.
But he's a pilot,
he's a pilot, and he's still really fucking smart. He's smart enough to get through NASA or ANSA, as they call it there, to become a pilot. Also, Sue is canonically really fucking smart. Like she's not like genius level like Reed, but she's really smart enough to be an astronaut. So cool.
She's a doctor of archaeology.
Yeah, she's smart. She is very intelligent. But more importantly, Johnny is smart enough and fit enough to be an astronaut. He actually is legitimately intelligent. And they show you in this movie, he actually is one of the smarter people you're going to see in the MCU. You just didn't know that because he's standing next to Reed fucking Richards. Every smart person looks stupid next to Reed Richards, right?
Except for some people like Lumella or Valeria.
That's true. That's very true. But when you have Tony Stark and Peter,
they make him look stupid.
If you have Tony Stark and Peter Parker and Bruce Banner in the same room with Reed Richards is going to be, he's going to know and be conversant in everything that they're really good at, right? Anything Tony Stark can do, Reed Richards can do it, right? Anything that Bruce
thing, it just only applies to several areas of science, because like if you take art, for instance, he
even says it in the movie. It's like, look, cooking's more of an art.
And he even said it in the comics when he and Alicia went to a museum. I think it was during the.
He doesn't get. I think he doesn't get art. He doesn't. He
doesn't get art. Yeah.
But it
that explains why. It wasn't his idea to go up to the people in the crowd with the baby. It's not something he would have done, but it's definitely something Sue would have done and understood that needed to be done.
Well, they definitely are, without saying neurodivergent, they are definitely kind of keying in on the fact that, and he knows that he's not like everybody else. He said there's something wrong with him. And he admits it when he's talking to little baby Franklin. But like Johnny being actually eminently intelligent to the point where he deciphers like it. And look, this is comic book logic. He didn't have enough information to actually decipher that language. But whatever, he does it. And it's not just him doing something, it's extremely important to the end of the movie. I really like the fact that they give Johnny more. He's just more. He's more emotionally intelligent. He's not super emotional, but he's more emotionally intelligent. He's not some kid, right? He's younger.
Yeah, he's not a high school kid that just happened to tag along when they was stealing the rocket.
And in fact, his intelligence allows him to make an insight that Reed would not have. Reed wouldn't have. He wants to invent his way out of the situation. He wants to build something to get out of it. Johnny, and they also kind of lampshade his, he's Captain Kirk, like he likes all the alien women, right? They lampshade that to make it actually a strength, that he wants to have an emotional connection with this person, and realizes like, oh, that's her language. What's the language say? Maybe I can connect with her because we can't whoop her ass. We can't whoop her. She's powerful. We can't kick her ass. We can't reason with her. Can't reason with her boss. We got to get to her emotionally. She's a living being. And so once he realized, he makes that connection, it's super important that he makes that connection, because then that's what makes it possible for her to remember who she is, what she values, and that she's compromised herself to save her own planet, but has doomed so many other people. And that's the choice that they're presented with the same choice. Sacrifice herself.
Yeah, but the kind of something that Reed does ultimately.
Yeah.
He doomed some of the world.
And Reed doesn't connect with it. He doesn't see, let's compromise his herald to save our world. He doesn't see that as a viable option. And so he's going with the technological answer. That ultimately fails until they can compromise her. Right? Because as soon as they're like, yay, we're going to move the planet. And she's like, are you now? Let me see how you gonna do that with all your
I can help it.
with all your shit being blowed up. How you gonna do that?
Oh shit! She was like, "Yo, you forgot the moon."
Yeah, it sounds good, mate. You should have done this 20 minutes earlier. And it's
oh yeah.
There's actually, that's one of the I will say this one thing that I hit on, but I'm not gonna harp on it too much. They play with time in a weird way. Like they're like, we got 36 hours to build monumental things. We're gonna build what was it, like 70 or 80 of the fucking jump or the teleportation devices around the world.
I thought it was like 20.
It was no. If you looked at the global map,
that's Reed math.
But if you look, even if it's 20, it doesn't work. Even 20 is too much. It's more than that, because some of them
besides, like, there are definitely countries who would be like, we're not gonna do that. Well, I mean, Russia. Like, seriously, the USSR would be like, sure, we'll build something the Yankees weren't. No.
Well, everyone was like, oh, well, this or die, so we'll do it. But it was the idea of all those things being built all over the globe in probably remote places in 36 hours. I don't give a fuck what kind of super science shit that Reed Richards has built. Ain't no way that happened. I don't. If you had said we got a few months, I'd been like, okay. Because remember, Galactus is just like, he's slowly creeping through the solar system for no reason. There's no reason for him to take his time. Like he was just like, you know what?
He's not that hungry.
He was stopping at like every.
He'll be hungry in like 36 hours, but now he's full.
He's stopping at every rest stop in the solar system. He's stopping he's stopping at every like gift shop in the Kuiper Belt. He stopped at like Jupiter. He just wanted to like, get ice cream at Jupiter. He's doing everything except trying to come consume the Earth.
He is insane. It's his first time in the guy, and a lot for everyone else. Yeah, so he needs to take it in.
That's very fair. Like no, and another thing they don't say, which is, and I know in the comics they explain why he prefers certain planets to others, but like, isn't food? I understand. I know in the comics they explain why.
But wouldn't you rather have something that's really, really good instead of something that's just?
I mean, you're not going to snack on Pluto or something like that. I get it, but he's taking his sweet. It's an appetizer. Time. Yeah, he's taking his sweet ass time getting into the solar system. And they're like, we got 36 hours, and I'm like, bullshit. There's no way y'all build all of this shit in 36 hours around the world. I don't care what you saw. It's not happening. It just isn't. But they do it. Like it's the comic books. You know what? Why not?
Yeah.
Did you notice it took that? Remember, he was like, how long will it take to get the the spaceship ready. He's like, you got 16 hours.
Yeah.
That y'all need twice as much time to build all those gates. No, bullshit. No, it's not real. This shit is not real. And I know this is a comic book
And
movie.
also, there is a guarantee that like how much money would be stolen during this whole building thing because somebody needs to be reached. How many things are gonna be like not well done, not correctly because people just don't have
Yeah.
the knowledge of the equipment. It's gonna be a mess. This plan is never gonna work, and well,
Bullshit.
it's Reed's plan, so it's never gonna work. That's I mean, another little bit that I just remembered that I really loved is the whole thing with Subterranean.
Yes,
And
thank you.
the part that Sue was the ambassador of sorts. That's something that she's done in the comics too, for those like underwater kingdoms and
Uh-huh.
stuff like that.
Which one are you
And
talking about? Which one could you be talking
not the
about?
name, not namers. Is the other two, but like she had to go
Yeah.
do some negotiations with him, and I remember then they had a fight. She hit him, and he was like, "Wow, Sue, you're so cool." But that's Namor. Anyway,
Namor's about to
so,
no, by the way, Namora is about to snatch her up. Y'all
oh,
know that,
that
right?
for sure,
Y'all
for sure.
and I'm like I've always wondered, like, in the comics I'm like, okay, I can see it, it's Namor, but like now in the MCU it's Pedro Pascal or like what's the guy's name? Tenoch Huerta. I'm like, that's all. Wow. Okay.
She got it.
I'm like, man, this is yeah, I mean, hard choice, but yeah.
So yeah, back to a moment though.
Loved him all,
The
man.
part yeah, absolutely. The part where he came and he like said, "I need Reed to ask me." And
Yeah,
even
that some
then,
part,
Reed
that part's so
with his
good.
huge ass ego, Reed was like, "No, moment! Oh my God, Reed, you're trying to save the world.
It's so
How
funny.
self-absorbed can you be?" It's
I
so funny, but it's also like it also shows that Reed is an asshole and he
yeah,
will throw everyone under the bus if
his
it makes
ego. It's his
if he
ego.
has to ask someone for help.
Exactly. It's his. He can't. You
Mhm.
know, sub.
He
You know,
can step on it.
his ego can't allow. I like that. First of all, Paul Walter Hauser as Mo Man. That's a great bit of casting. I wish there were more of him in it. I said that earlier. I wish there was more. Um,
Well,
I
lucky for us, they didn't just kill him off as a
yeah.
one-time villain or use him as a villain in general. So
He's not even.
we
He's
probably
not.
will see more of him again.
He's not even really a. He's a villain that is later on. It's just an at. He's just kind of like he's not even an adversary. He's made peace because of Sue Storm. Like literally, he's just like, I
Hmm.
don't like the surface world, but I do like Sue. Like
And I do not like Reed.
yeah, he's like, I don't like Reed, but Sue. So he respects her. He likes her and respects her as a person, and has literally come to the negotiation table because of her. And so when that whole so he says that earlier, so they sort of signal that later when they're like, we need Subterranea to shelter people because of Galactus.
Mhm.
He's acting like, no, you're gonna have to really butter me up. He literally says you're gonna have to butter me up both sides, and I love that part. But when the doors close, he's like, let me talk to him by himself. He's like, I'm just trying to, it's the end of the world. I gotta laugh. What do you need? Because that's who she is. Like, I love the fact that she's the most effective member of the entire Fantastic Four. Uh, she's taken her role seriously, and Reed is the leader, but he's not. And he even knows in his heart he's not in charge. She's running the show. She's the one that's he's making technology. She's making peace treaties. She's bringing people to the table. She's making the world better and more peaceful. And I enjoy that. It's like
Because really, without what she's doing, all his technology means nothing.
mm, it's a really nice scene. I want more Mole Man. I want the only thing I will say. There's one thing I hit up on Subterranean I did not like is that all of his henchmen are just dudes with like miners helmets on. Fuck that. I want the little. I
No,
want the like.
I
we
think
didn't.
they will
They
look
had
like they were
Giganto.
supposed to be Moloids, but they didn't look
Yeah,
that
bullshit.
cool.
You know what?
And considering
Marvel.
that in the Future Foundation they have like Moloids,
Yeah,
intelligent ones,
I just want to say,
that they should be there.
Marvel, stop being cowards and show them. I get it. Y'all want to save money, but Subterranea is not people by dudes in hat and minor. You know, they're not. They're people. They're a whole different race of beings. And Mole Man is just the guy that went down there and basically took over. It was like, I'm a dude, but fuck the surface. I like that though. Let's also talk about our unsung hero. I'm gonna lift him up again. My boy Herbie was on.
I was just thinking about
I
him, like,
loved
and
Herbie.
how they switched the tapes for
Yeah,
like home space.
I love
That is
that.
so cool.
I love the analog aesthetic. Like they really leaned in. Remember, because Johnny was like listening when they did recordings. They were on golden phonograph discs, right? So he was actually they were
records.
they were recording data that way, on tape and everything like that. Herbie being tape, but it's the retro futuristic thing because he could hover. They had hovering things that Reed obviously designed, but also he's clearly an autonomous AI, right? Yeah, the tape, yes, but he can make decisions and do things. He was literally doing, prepping the whole place for the baby and everything like that. I thought that was awesome. And also, I mean, if you're a kid and you don't like Herbie, what's wrong with you? He's such a cute little mascot.
Probably.
I think it's very smart.
Yeah.
I also quite liked the inclusion of Franklin and his birth in space. Out of necessity, she goes there because of Galactus, but she has him while they're in the midst of like a chase and everything like that. Just because Sue is a fucking badass. Just
that whole scene, it was so cool, and we watched it in the 4DX, I think it's called, right, where the seats move and stuff like that. So that scene in particular was absolutely amazing, with like everything blowing in your face and like the seat creating this pressure of movement, and it was also very emotional. And yes, he is a freaking badass. She's awesome.
I definitely teared up during the birth and like the first seeing Franklin and everything like that. Just I have personally, when my daughter was born, like I definitely cried when I first heard the first time I heard her cry and everything like that. It was, look, if you're a parent, there's a lot in this movie that's gonna get at you. I'm not gonna say emotional manipulation. It's just hitting on things that we know and understand. But even if you're not a parent, like, look, the first time they cry and you hold them and like now you're like, oh yeah, fuck the world. I'm not giving this kid up. You get the fuck out of here. Completely understood.
But she isn't giving up the world for him to either.
Yeah, that was a good and that was a good kind of explanation. Like it doesn't have to be an either or situation. And she even said,
but also, yeah.
Oh, well, she was just saying, look, you are all our family. It's not just We're not saying family is just us 4 or 5. It's everybody. So we're gonna fight for you like we will fight for each other. I really enjoy it because it helped to galvanize the world into this monumental project that would either make or break, the future. And I really enjoy, again, because Sue's the best. She just is.
There's also this like funny little element that the Franklin's I don't know, it's not a creep, but like holder looks a lot like Grogo's thingy.
Accidental on purpose.
Yeah, it was kind of. I see what you did there.
It's funny.
And it did the same thing.
Well, remember, and also Pedro Pascal is there with the child. So
exactly. That was the whole point. That was the whole thing. I noticed it better, and it was just. But you know what? There is like one thing that did disappoint me.
What's that?
One thing in the entire movie. The second post-credit scene. They really had the chance to include the song from the 90s. And I know that it doesn't sound like the 60s, but come on, it's such a great song. And I've been like campaigning quietly at home for it to be included ever since like the movie has been announced. But how
No,
come that didn't happen?
they
They
want.
wrote an entirely new song for this, and it's funny and it's cool, but that song was so cool.
I, I mean, I get it because it's just not in line with the aesthetic. But
Yeah,
I did
yeah.
enjoy the
I'm still pissed.
I did enjoy the Scooby Doo esque Hanna Barbera type
Mm.
animation that they did there. Um, I like that Ben was like, "I don't say that," and then he said it in the moment. You know, Johnny was
Oh
like, "Say
yeah.
it was." I look if you're gonna do it in the right time. Um, I like that they were, you know, obviously they are because in the comics they are also a multimedia sort of, you know, sort of a situation too. You know, there are branded stuff and everything. I enjoyed
Mm.
that. um, there. Oh, since we're talking about it, I mentioned this on Threads, but it bears mentioning. Jack Kirby gets so much love in this movie. This movie is a Jack Kirby love letter. But I mentioned it about how he made a cameo in the movie. Like not literally him, but someone who's supposed to represent him is in the movie. Um, so the part where Shalabal shows up on Earth, so she comes in looking like if y'all remember Independence Day, the way the things came in and there's like all these looks like meteors and stuff coming in, shooting stars or whatever. But she comes in on this big cloud and they're like, "Oh shit, what the fuck is this?" When she's coming to tell them that they're in trouble. Well, so they cut to, you know, after the Fantastic Four, like, okay, what the fuck is this? They cut to a bunch of New Yorkers sort of, you know, reacting to this thing. Now, one thing I'll note is that in this world, a lot of weird shit has happened because, you know, with the Fantastic Four being there. So no one's flipping out, right? No one's flipping out about it. They're just like, holy shit, what is this? Because they've seen weird shit happening. This is something that Superman did too. Weird shit happens just enough so that people are like, okay, it's another weird thing happening. They're not flipping out about it. So this happens, and then you cut to a bunch of different New Yorkers reacting. One of the reactions is a dude he's looking out a window like, oh, and he's saying like, come over and look at this, right? He's looking out the window, look, and then they cut behind them. And you see the two of them looking out the window, right? And they are in an art studio or something like that. You see like, you know, an artist's desk, but there's an easel with comic book pages, and not like small ones, but like the big ones that they use to shrink down into the pamphlet size. The finished comic book pages that are sitting there, and they're a Fantastic Four, and one of them has Giganto or whatever the name of that the big thing that they were beating up earlier.
Yeah, yeah. Giganto.
He's there, and then there's other comic panels behind it, and it's supposed to be Timely Comics. That's Jack Kirby and Stan Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't say it, and I don't even think they're credited. That's Jack. That's Jack and Stan. And the reason why I say it's Jack, if you've ever seen what Jack looked like, Jack Kirby looks like, that's a younger version of him. He looks just like him. I'm telling you, they don't credit it. I guarantee you that's who that's supposed to be. So,
But that's also a great reference to the early comics, like the
yeah.
specifically Stanley and Jack Kirby era of Fantastic Four, because they often included themselves in the stories,
Yep.
and it was like an ongoing thing that they release in the comics about Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four are aware of that,
And they're like, you're not getting
and
this right.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
one
I
thing
don't say that.
I think one thing that most casual people don't actually know about the Marvel Comics universe, because it's not really true in the MCU. One thing they don't know is that within the Marvel Comics universe, there is a comic book company that makes comic books about the Marvel Comics superheroes. And they are transparently the exact same people who were making comics at the time. Like, so they have stand-ins for like every, if they ever show them, they are supposed to be Marvel comics.
There are like arcs, specific arcs in the Fantastic Four with the writers. And at some point, I don't remember. I don't remember whether it's Mark Waid's. I think it's Mark Waid's run. It's where Ben dies and he goes to heaven and he meets Jack Kirby.
Yep. He
who sent him back.
What they say is the one above all. That's the one above all is at one point is explicitly said to be whoever the writer is of the comic. Or actually, I think it's supposed to be Stan. At one point, it's explicitly Stan because he's the editor in chief. But the one above all is they're letting you know it's the writers, it's the creators, it's the
editorial.
Yeah, it's they're they are the god of the Marvel universe. So I really I saw this on the seconds. When I saw it the second time, I was like, holy shit, that is fucking Jack Kirby. Like straight up.
I'm gonna check tomorrow.
Because I
remember Timely Comics on the wall, and I noticed Timely Comics, but I didn't notice the faces.
Yeah,
so I was just excited to see Timely Comics.
It's a beautiful kind of tribute because Jack Kirby doesn't get enough shine. Stan Lee gets all the shine, and that's because Stan was such a good marketer of himself. He's a good marketer.
Well, and the comics.
He's a good marketer of Marvel Comics in general, but of himself in particular. And unfortunately, people, not that he's been erased, but most people don't really know Jack. And I love at the end of the movie they have a quote. They quote him, right? Just to kind of give so like kudos to Shackman and Feige and I forget who wrote this, but for just like putting that in.
I think Shackman wrote it too.
He might have co-wrote, but they had a I forget the screenwriter.
I think that doesn't matter, but they do have a lot of references, and I think that it's one of them. It's pretty cool in general, but it's more important and more meaningful since we know that Jack Kirby talked a lot about how Ben is his not only favorite character, but the kind of a representation of himself. Yeah.
And it's clear because if you've read or even seen some, like they have documented, it's pretty clear Ben is his stand-in to the point where he's Jewish. Before he said it explicitly, he made hints that Ben was Jewish. Right. And he's got Stan was known, not Stan, Jack's known, he's a little gruff or whatever, a little rough around the edges. But like I've never, basically what I'm saying, he matches up with what I've heard from people that knew and worked with him and was underappreciated in many ways. He's a bit unassuming. He did the work. He contributed a lot to the Marvel Comics and later on to DC Comics. A bit unappreciated, but also like a foundational person within the comics industry as we know and understand it today, but also in Marvel Comics in general. He had his hand in a lot of the foundational Silver Age characters, and even in Golden Age. Pretty much, and Golden Age too.
The whole Marvel method of writing comics that was used in the Silver Age, it relies heavily on the artist coming up with the story.
Yeah, and then the writer coming back and kind of making the words fit.
Just stayed in the words.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's
just how much he's influenced every story that he.
I really like the fact that Jack's getting the love there. Trying to think of I think Galactus is really good in this.
Yeah,
he's clearly not. They kept him alive. That's good. I mean, to be truthful, you can't kill Galactus. You ain't never getting rid of him. Every time you think, like I've seen him at his lowest, like where he was
being drained. Well, actually, didn't mean to say actually like like one of those people, but there were several storylines in which Galactus was killed or dead. I think there was like an alternate universe Galactus, And one time he was turned into a human, and he was a real hater. Like, he went to a museum and he hated everything. He was like uninterested. Reminds me of some people in the fandom, but
It's, I think the what I loved about Galactus, they did just enough to be like, look, this, they brought him down to a little bit more of a human level where you could be like, oh, he's huge and scary and like a problem.
he changes his size.
But he's not so much of, he's not a incomprehensible he, in reality, in the comics, he actually is incomprehensible. Like, y'all, people don't really quite understand.
Sometimes
his role is such that he's a bit incomprehensible, but what you see is only what you can barely understand. But they bring him down to a certain level because ultimately he's in pain and he wants it to fucking stop. And this babe, he's like I said, he's like Fat Bastard from Austin Powers. If he eats that baby, his hunger will go away, right? He's been hungering since the beginning of the universe, and he's like, enough. This kid, if I eat him, I'll be good. So you understand, his motivations are simple and understandable. He's got a ton of power, and how are these people going to deal with? Basically, he is all the natural disasters rolled into one. How do you stop a natural disaster? And the way you stop a natural disaster is you piss off a mom. Make a mom be like, oh, you gonna kill my baby? Bet. I'm gonna use all my power. I got you. And Sue Storm was a bad ass. Because you ever watch a movie and cool stuff starts happening, you're like, oh shit, all right. And then it hypes you, and as it keeps going on, you're like, holy, I'm starting to talk to myself. I'm like, I'm trying not to disturb the people next to me. I like, oh shit, she is going, oh, she's doing that thing for real. I was like, this is Omega level. If she, in that moment, she was doing, she was doing Phoenix level shit. Because Phoenix has gone up, Phoenix is just powerful enough that Galactus will pause and be like, all right, if I got to deal with the Phoenix, we gonna have a problem. She was doing Phoenix level shit. And I was like, bet.
Hold on. Hold on. The thing is, she wasn't actually trying to harm him or hurt him, but she was using her power to the limit to push him, and that doesn't contradict anything that we know about her.
No,
she's really, really strong. And this is exactly how you use her power to do something with the Galactus, because they can't defeat him, that they can't harm him, they can't hurt him, but she needs to push him, and that's exactly where that's exactly what her power set allows her.
That shit is wild, though. Like, I remember in the Civil War when she stopped a hammer blow from Clore, right? The clone, who for most purposes, and he had Mjolnir, and she stopped it, and that made her nose bleed.
He straight up killed his face?
Goliath. Didn't
Goliath?
Yeah, shit. So like what I'm saying is, we know she's got the power, but like, it's the movie sort of conveys this, but like the ability to make Galactus do anything he doesn't want to do that's reserved for a very small number of characters. They're like you
her kid made Galactus his herald. So
you can, but I'm saying you can count on like there's maybe 6 characters in the MCU or in the Marvel comics who literally can make Galactus can stop him when he doesn't want to be stopped. And the fact that she pushed his ass down into Times Square against his will was fucking wild, and I loved it. Like I was like, oh yeah,
it looked amazing. I was like, so good.
Yeah, she is her. Like, don't doubt about it. If she wanted to, like, if she comes to the MCU, she and Captain Marvel could duke it out, and I can't even take side. I don't know who's gonna win that. She and who else? She and she would. I think honestly, real for real talk, if she can do that to Galactus, she would put Sentry on his ass. We just saw Sentry in Thunderbolt. She would. I think she put him on his ass. That's how badass she is in this movie. I fucking loved it.
Galactus though looks amazing. I loved how he jumped onto into the water and then started climbing out, and
Looking
it
like
looks so
Godzilla.
good.
There's some Godzilla shit in there.
Right? Yes, but also it's Galactus and it looks awesome. That was yeah, that was one of the most exciting parts for me when I was going to see it. Now everything is exciting. No, seriously. What? Is there anything else?
I would
I
just.
know there is a lot.
There
Is
is.
definitely a lot.
I enjoyed the super science aspect of it, because that's one of the hallmarks of Fantastic Four is super science, like cutting edge or like science or technology so fantastical that it's magic. And there's a lot of that in this, and I like because I like things. I like space exploration stuff. I like 2001: A Space Odyssey. I liked Arrival. I liked The Martian, stuff like that. And so seeing like even the bridge of the Excelsior, which is a dope ass fucking spaceship, seeing the inside of Galactus's ship, right? Just seeing all of the various aspects of super science that were on display, I thought they were really very inspired, very well realized within the movie. Like I believed it all, right? And I just like that they lean so hard into the sci-fi aspect of it because that's a lot of what the suit. Yeah, he can stretch, he can get on fire, but a lot of it is
That's not his superpower.
Yeah, his superpower is he's makes magical shit. It's magical, and I loved.
No, don't tell him that.
I loved how they made it.
Pissed.
They made it look. I loved how they made it look, and made it realistic. Not realistic, but reasonably. Like you can believe it's real.
The another thing that the scene where he presents the new suits and he's like, it's fireproof. My first thought was asbestos, right?
You rub it all over yourself.
There is so much asbestos in the early Fantastic Four comics. There is everything is asbestos. Asbestos rug, asbestos carpet.
I'm surprised. I'm sorry.
Furniture stuff, everything. Where is all the asbestos?
Because that was cutting edge, whatever. But I'm surprised he didn't say unstable molecule. I think even someone was like, I don't believe. That Johnny's things didn't like catch on fire, and people were just like, so you watched the rest of this movie, all this other stuff happened. You don't believe that Reed Richards can't make fireproof? Did you watch the movie? Because
they didn't actually mention unstable molecules, and that's interesting because I wonder if that's because they don't talk about them because they really do keep them.
It's just nanoparticles.
Low key. They don't sell the patent or anything, or they just use something else.
I just think it's weird to bump up against. Why doesn't his clothes burn up? I don't know. Why does Reed's clothes not fucking tear apart when he stretches across the room? Like stop.
Oh, the scene where Galactus just took Reed and started. I
was like, that's
one of my favorites.
That was the first time I was like, Galactus, you kind of mean, dog. Like you could have just thrown him away. No, you're just like,
just be grateful he didn't start chewing.
And the funny thing is, I was just like, 616 Reed would have been fine. In order to actually stretch Reed to the point where he breaks is hard. It's very, very hard.
Yeah, but it's doable still.
Not like this. Not on a Galactus. The Galactus. No, you would have to stretch him like you'd have to do this. He would have still been fine. But I thought it was interesting. Like, look, there is plenty more. We're closing in on 3 hours on this stream. We could talk about a lot more. Like, I think they just did it. I think they just did it.
They absolutely did it. Are we gonna mention the post-credit scene there?
Yes, okay, yeah. That's before we wrap it all up.
That's pretty important. Yeah,
Not the one with the cartoon. That was
no,
fun, but it's not
the
important.
other one.
I was a little like, you could have done this first, but whatever. Um, yeah. So we have 4 years later, and you have Sue is
Which is what I called it.
right.
That the other things was gonna happen later when Franklin is a little bit older.
Yeah, nothing nearly says I wasn't paying attention to the time. Yeah, we've been at it. It's you know what was I saying? So
4 years later.
4 years later, she's reading to Franklin, who's obviously he's now 4 years old. Um, and she's like, "Do you want to read? Let's read another book." He's like, and Herbie's like, "Here, give this to him." And it's Darwin's Origin of the Species. She's like, "No, we read
That's
that
some great
yesterday.
bullshit.
We read this yesterday already." Which, by the way, they're basically just trying to hint, yes, he is a fucking smart person. Now, my question is, are we gonna get Valeria? Because Valeria is smart.
Exactly.
Valeria is the actual genius out of the two of them, right? Franklin is super powerful. Valeria is a genius. Like, she is smarter than her dad.
Right? Maybe they're trying to like
hopefully not
read all this shit to him. Yeah, but it's not gonna stick.
But then they're like, how about this one? And it was just another kid's book. But before she goes that, she hears something, and like there's the lights change and everything. And then she comes back, and there's a hooded figure kneeling down, with her
holding
son.
A mask.
And was he holding a mask? I couldn't, but he's
he was holding a mask. He wasn't masked,
and he's hooded, but you don't ever see who he is. And then she's about to say something, and that's it, and it cuts. So obviously that's Doom. Yeah. It's obviously Doom.
Well, obviously that's the MCU
version of well, which Doom is it? Because remember, in Latveria we see Latveria, we never see the representatives of Latveria.
Mm-hmm. Which is also a nice detail. Yeah. Like, Storm is speaking.
I will also say we don't see Wakanda either. So is Wakanda a thing in this world? We don't know, right?
Maybe not.
But so obviously they're setting up for Doomsday. What I will also say about that is this semi-confirmed some speculation you and I had last week. We were talking because we were talking after the stream, like, where are they going with this? How do you build Battle World? And if you don't have Molecule Man, how are you building Battle World? And we were like, well, it's got to be Franklin, because he's the reality, manipulator. Like he if y'all are MCU watchers, he can manipulate reality in a more better than Wanda.
He can create them, destroy them, pretty much. And Franklin can do whatever the story needs.
He's godlike, more than Wanda is. Like, if you think Wanda is like, if you think you've seen reality manipulation with Wanda, you have not. Franklin eclipses her in every possible way. And that
but then again, he has a limited amount of power, or at least, like, at some point, he had a limited amount of power. So they don't really, they don't have to keep him around and get stuck with another super, super, super powerful being. Yeah. They can just drain his power and do whatever.
The fun thing about Franklin is he's all like, it changes. Like, he's just a kid sometimes. Sometimes he's
mutant.
He's an Omega level mutant. But
sometimes
we sort of like, we sort of saw that. We speculated about that he would be necessary for Battle World. So I think this was kind of confirming that that he's going to be essential to Doom creating Battle World for Secret Wars. But also, probably that's going to be a central focus in Doomsday, that maybe he kidnaps Franklin. So you have to wonder, how does he know about him? How does he understand where was he during
Oh,
the events of Fantastic Four First Steps?
it's Doom. It
Is he
also
the
can be the
multiversal?
Doom
Yeah,
of yeah. It could be the Doom of 828, but also can be
a different
the
one.
any other Doom. Yeah,
Yeah,
could be even 616. It
he's
could
not.
be
I don't
like the
think he's six
Maker
one six.
version of whatever.
I think he's not six one
I don't know.
six.
I'm kind of low key hoping that they're gonna use the alternative Tony Stark dressed as Doom to just mm, walk around and try to ruin real Doom's plans, because I still I still
Yeah,
want to see the real
and
Doom, the
yeah, I
Doom.
think when they finally, when all of the dust settles after Secret Wars, we'll get the real Doom. Nothing nearly. Thanks for joining us on in the live chat. It says that they weren't paying attention to the time. Yeah, and I've been sort of looking at it. This is a long stream. Says he. They say I miss all the glowing praise for Reed Richards with a and then with a laughing emoji. Uh, yeah, you. Polly was really just like she's changed. She's turned over a new leaf. It's all Reed all the time now.
That's again Richard's propaganda. I stay loyal to Doom.
Damn you, Richards.
Richards.
And he said at least it wasn't a nanotech mask. Real talk, like we can we get away from the nanotech shit? It's just magic, but
Yeah.
whatever. No, it was a good. I think it was a good credit scene. It's just enough to be like, okay, cool, some shit's coming up, but it's not. The expectation is we're gonna get Doom. We already know that. It's just kind of laying the groundwork, and I appreciate that. And also, the whole Franklin, we didn't necessarily talk about it. The fact that he brought his mom back to life, like she burned herself out,
Yeah.
getting rid of Galactus, and he was like, "Yeah, about that, I don't think so. Wake your ass back up." And it was a
Yeah,
very.
for a
By the
second there,
way,
I forgot about him, and I was thinking like, oh, is Ritz gonna be the Maker now?
I was like, "Damn, they killed Sue," but and I want to shout out to Vanessa Kirk. I think she's great in this role. I really think
Absolutely
she's
awesome.
really good. Her death scene was really good. Like I felt it. I teared up. I'm not gonna lie. I was just when obviously
Hey,
she's
I even sympathized with Reed at that moment.
Reed was
Yeah.
like, "Oh fuck, I'm lost." He was lost. He like
Also, it was also very well
yeah,
done.
and
Like,
I wanted to be like, Johnny, why are you so low key? But like then I saw like he's trying to hold it together. I realized, oh, he's trying to hold it together because him losing it is not gonna help anybody in that. But you see him, he's clearly. And then again, Ben being like he's just a steadying presence there. Like he's accepted it. She gave all for her son. He's accepting it. He's gonna grieve later on his own time. He's got to be there for Reed, who's about to fucking lose it. And he's got to be like, hey, it's we gotta accept what's happening. And then Franklin was like, shit, my shit, I ain't accepting the damn thing. Wake your ass up, mom. and,
God damn
and
it.
just to be sure, because we see this in movies all the time, they'll be like, "Oh, they're dead," and then they're like, "Oh," right, the big gasp, and they're like, oh, "She does the big gasp," but what's important is she has that little power cosmic eye, right? Her eyes are blue. He used the power cosmic to bring her back to life, and I like that they made. They're like, look,
I don't remember, but it kind of looks the same as Star Lord's eyes looked in Guardians 2.
I mean, it could. I got to see Guardians 2. I haven't seen it in a while, but it reminds me of when Galactus's eyes glow, but it's got like a little more of a starry thing to it. But it's very clear she was dead, and he was like, "Fuck you are," and he's like, "Wake your ass up." And she wakes up, and the whole little bit where the CGI baby is just like happy about it and stuff, and he claps, which by the way got a good reaction in the audience both times I saw it. That's a good scene. And I love that they're like, you can lay breadcrumbs for the future without explicitly saying shit. You're just being like, hey, remember, this is the thing he can do. So when we see Battle World, you'll understand why. Right? That's it. So it's, look, we're at past 3 hours now. I think it's time to wrap this up. Y'all go see Fantastic Four and enjoy it. The MCU is back, baby.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Nothing nearly said. I love Johnny's scene with the recording across all the screens. It really showed how capable he can be. Exactly. He used his social media for good, or whatever. He used his smartphone for good, his smartwatch for good, not just for buying Chipotle.
His Richard's phone.
Yeah, it was really good. You're right. We did talk about Johnny earlier. It's good. Joseph Quinn did great. I think he did great. Let's wrap this up though. You guys go check that out. So anyway, that's all of our thoughts on the movie and all of our thoughts for the, whoops, and I'm on the wrong one, for the week. Y'all, what did you think about this movie? What did you think about all of that news? Everything about that. You know what to do. Get down to the comment section and leave your thoughts there. Of course, you can always hit me up at supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, blurred_force1 on Instagram and Threads, super_not_funny show on TikTok, even though I really don't get on that. And while you're doing all of that, checking that out, do me a favor, get down there, hit like on this stream or this video if you're watching this after we've done the stream. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. All that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see this stream, these videos, and all the content that we make on Blurred Force One. And of course, couldn't do this by myself. I needed the resident Reed Richards appreciator, the person who carries the flag for all things Reed Richards. Potentially a Doombot. Could be a Doombot. We're not really sure.
Most certainly a Doombot. Or Doom.
Or Doom. You never know. It could be Doom. This, of course, our good friend Polly of Comix. Can you tell them where they can reach you on social media?
As always, core_mixed on Instagram, on Threads, and on Tumblr.
Yeah, go check. And if you really like, for real, if you want to know more about Fantastic Four, she did a review because she just read through all of them, which was that's a baller ass nerd move. Let me just say, read through them all and had some shit to say about them. She comes about her Reed Richards antagonism very honestly, I will say, and like, don't even try to be an apologist for Reed Richards on social media.
That ain't gonna fly.
You are asking to get educated. Let me just say. But if you want to reach her, check her out on her social media. Go show some love. So anyway, this has been episode 190 of the Supercast. Thanks for joining us. We're probably going to live stream this again next Friday. Why not? We'll see if the aftermath of Superman and Fantastic Four. And, maybe talk a little bit about Eyes of Wakanda. So until then, I've been Mo, your comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by my good friend Polly. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.